can't wade into the politics of musicians because, some musicians want to play music for everybody, and some musicians seem to have segmented their audiences the same way, politicians have. But this is Freedom 250, and the celebration of the 250 is a nonpartisan event. And I would encourage, everybody in America to get out, celebrate in your own way, celebrate in your own community. And if you're here, over those 15 days, you get a chance to see the amazing things going on across all of our 50 states.
The argument by these artists, and about half of them have now dropped out, is that they agree with you. It should be nonpartisan, but that the information they were getting led them to believe it's going to be partisan.
Well, I read that one of them just heard this morning that they got their information from Spin Magazine. What an appropriate name to get your information about an event. But Freedom 250 is about celebrating our nation and our celebration. And of course, and again, anybody that goes there, you've got a chance to hear from all of our states, all of our territories over 15 days. Well, it's just one of a number of different things. Later on this summer, we've got, IndyCar 500 coming to D.C. I hope that no one can find a way to make car racing partisan. Maybe some will. But that itself, again, nothing more American than car racing.
But just on the partisanship, the president, after these artists dropped out, called for the concerts to be canceled. First of all, are they all going to be canceled?
I don't know that that's going to be the case, but again, this is a 15-day-long celebration, and focusing on one event where we've got the politics.
Well, no, this is what I was going to ask you. He said that he is going to now have a Make America Great Again rally that he hosts. Is that going to be a standard political rally?
Well, I think President Trump it's important that whoever would be president of the country at the 200th, the 150th, the 100th, the 250th, the president plays a key figure in helping to, again, celebrate, kick off, and be at the opening of these events.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Mr. President. Tim Burchett. I, like you, am a little ticked off and disappointed that some of these, I guess, so-called musicians have decided that they have some problem with celebrating our 250th anniversary of the founding of this great country, to think that patriotism is going to offend somebody. And we all know that these New York or Los Angeles or Hollywood PR firms wrote these statements. It's pathetic. Anyway, what we ought to do is, my suggestion would be, get your friend and my friend John Rich, great musician, to lead it off. He's got some great patriotic tunes he's written and he sings, and it's just awesome. And let him MC the dadgum thing and have all these folks come in. There's plenty of acts in Nashville, people that are trying to get on a big stage like this. This is the world stage, be the largest stage in the world. Everybody in the country will be watching this dadgum thing. And let some of those musicians get out and sing a few songs. All we'd have to do is pay for their dadgum airfare, most of them, just to get them up there, and they'd love it. And then, of course, have Kid Rock. Nobody's more patriotic in the rock and roll world than he is, and he's awesome. And then I know you got his number. Heck, I've been with him when he's called you. And then the finale would be cool to have Lee Greenwood come out and sing. He's got a bunch of great songs, but of course, the ending would be God Bless the USA, and have all the other acts come out and sing along with him, and maybe they could do a single verse. Kid Rock or John Rich or something could do one of the verses, and I think that would be awesome. Have all those great stars up on stage. And anyway, if y'all got any ideas of some groups that would, from your area, that would be willing to play, how about tagging them in this story, and let's see if we can make this thing happen. So anyway, thank y'all so much for sending me here. Thank you, Mr. President.
This just in. There's a situation. It's going down. America is turning 250. Come on, man. Let's go. I'm super honored to do this concert with everybody. We're going to bring back the 90s. Put your dancing shoes on. You'll be happy. Trust me. It's all about enjoying the great times of 250 years, man, from George Washington to now, and all the presidents and everybody in between. This is a magical event that's going to happen, and very rare. So I'm honored, man. This is going to be epic. And That's it. We don't take anything too serious, man. We're going to bring the 90s. That's how it works. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. So we're going to turn everybody into a teenager for the night. Proud to be an American and proud and honored for this event. So get in where you fit in and we'll see you there. Holla, holla. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Sick it on these kids.
Well, you're gonna have to go back a lot further than the 90s to bring me back to a teenager, a lot further. But in any event, I figured out what the problem is. It took some digging, some intense digging to find out specifically what happened. So you have to bear with me here because I'm going to take you through some things. And I think after doing the research I did, the fix was in all along. So I'm going to show it to you. Excuse me. This is pretty interesting. You've heard people on X. You heard even Doug Burgum as he was talking. You probably have heard a bunch of people. Even last night, you heard me say it. And once you dig into this, you realize it's a small difference, but a huge difference. Absolutely monstrous. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the name. That's the problem here. Many of us, including me last night, were talking about America 250. And President Trump has been talking about Freedom 250. They're two different things. I don't think a lot of people realize it. I didn't realize it. I started doing some investigating on this and I was like, oh, wait a second. Here's what the problem is. All these bands were booked in place by the America 250. They weren't booked by Freedom 250. And when they found out this was going to be a Freedom 250 event, they freaked out. And I'm going to show you why. Now you'll know exactly what's going on. So here is the website for America 250. Looks very innocent. You've got the Statue of Liberty, and they've got videos playing in the background. There's Donald Trump with Melania, and it might seem like, wow, okay, this is the place we're supposed to be. But now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to click here, do the menu, and let's look at About America 250. And it's celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And it goes on and it talks about it, and it gives you some background. And then you've got to go way down here. You got to keep going. And here it is where the difference is. The U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission was established by Congress in 2016 to plan and orchestrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so you might be thinking right now, 2016, who was president? Not who you think. And so as you're looking at this, it says the event is chaired by somebody called Rosie Rios. She's working with American250.org to put this all together. And here you go down here, America250.org is the nonprofit supporting organization to the U.S. Semi-Quintennial Commission. A250 works collaboratively with the commission to facilitate robust public-private partnerships. So far, so good. And then you get down here and it says who the leadership is, America 250 leadership. And you click in here and it comes up. And this is where you start seeing what's going on. This is all the leadership. It is comprised of a nonpartisan commission, which is why all their statements said nonpartisan. This was supposed to be, a nonpartisan event. It's a nonpartisan. It's a nonpartisan. Now, all of a sudden, it's not nonpartisan. The wording is on this website, and it's composed of 16 private citizens, 4 U.S. reps, and 4 senators. The commissioners, there's Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She's from West Virginia. She is a Republican. Let's continue. Lisa Murkowski. You can call her whatever you want, but yeah, she's in the middle there, right? Now look who else is on this thing. Wait a second. Is that the dude from California? Yep, Alex Padilla, Democrat. Who else? Oh, Jeanne Shaheen, another senator, a Democrat. I assume this guy being from Alabama is probably a Republican. And then I know Salazar, she's Republican from down here. But this dude, Pennsylvania 3rd, most likely Democrat. I know she's a Democrat. I've seen her in hearings. This guy here, Pennsylvania, don't know, but who knows what he's going to be. I'm pretty sure some of these people, there's Kellyanne Conway, they've got all these different people in here. And this lady, Kathy Gillespie, I mean, you start looking at some of who these people are. So I want to get down to this lady. This lady is Rosie Rios. Rosie is the chairman, as you can see, of the event. So who's Rosie? Rosie is the CEO of Red River Associates, an investment managing and consulting firm and a co-host of several reality series focused on pre-IPO investments. She was appointed by President Joe Biden as the chairperson of America 250, the United States Congressional Commission, which is planning the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration. She was appointed by Biden. Light bulbs going off. You're like, aha. Oh, so they ran they had a different thing that they were running all along. And then President Trump, he must have looked into this and said, wait a second, I see where this is going. It's amazing when you start digging in here and finding out who some of these people are. And I want to show you this because this is where some people may have thought, including myself, that this was a decent event that was being planned. They have something here called ex officio, which basically means because of your title, you get to be on the board. Well, if you scroll all the way down to ex officio, and here's ex officio, this is where it got confusing. Todd Blanche, ex officio. Don't know who this guy is. Doug Burgum, ex officio. Wow, this is looking pretty good. You got Blanche and Burgum on here, and you can go further and go to Pete Hegseth. They got his picture. They've got a former Supreme Court justice, and then even down here, they've got Linda McMahon, and then further, they've even got Marco Rubio. So at first glance, without digging in, this looks like it's credible. It's nonpartisan. But now you know who founded it, who's running it. Biden's people are running America 250. So somewhere along the lines, President Trump saw what this was. And he's like, we're not doing that. We're not going to follow this program that these people are on. So he created, or somebody created, Freedom 250. Freedom 250 is celebrating the triumph of the American spirit, and it's all obviously it's all Americana, and talks about 250 years ago independence seemed impossible. It talks about how an idea was set in motion. It's got all kinds of things that are directly attributable to the founding fathers of America. The other one is something different. And so when you see all these people that say it was supposed to be nonpartisan, that's because the other company contracted with them. And as soon as President Trump came out in that post and said Freedom 250, they realized at that point they had their out. They were not a part of anything called Freedom 250. They were supposed to be performing at America 250, at Biden America 250, of a Democrat-run America 250. Who knows what other kind of stuff. It was funny because the first time I saw that pop up, I was like, MC? MC this? This dude, something didn't seem right. And now you know what it was all about. It was a ruse from the very beginning. I don't know when President Trump actually found out and said, we got to change this, but they jumped on it and they realized right away that they needed to get this thing changed, and they changed the entire thing. The extraordinary story of our founding. Learn how the founding generation turned a bold idea into a nation. American history in motion. And if you go back to their site, even though they've got Marco's picture here, our initiatives and what they're doing leading up to the celebration, planning a multi-year national effort to educate and unite Americans from sea to shining sea through a variety of tentpole programs. And all their stuff here is completely different than what Freedom 250 is. So from July 1st to July 5th, these moments will be formed to show that will unite 350 Americans and all the things that they want to do. Signature events in New York City, Philadelphia, California. Philadelphia, New York City, California. Where's Alabama? Where's Florida? Nah. And when you go through here and you start looking at what they're talking about, they are very, very light on history. President Trump wants to make this all about history. I don't know how I missed it. I completely missed it. And you can hear so many people talking back and forth, making those names interchangeable. And that's why there's so much confusion on X at this point, because people are like, didn't you know that Trump was the president? How did you not know that this was a, Trump event? Because the Biden White House put this thing in motion 10 years ago. They expected, I guess, that Biden was going to get reelected. They were planning a different event, and now President Trump came in, and don't know who he talked to, but they're like, hey, you don't want any part of this. And so yesterday when I was playing the videos, they seemed so innocuous that they were just American people talking about the history of the country. And the whole thing seems at this point, in retrospect, looking at it, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to whitewash it. Who knows what they were going to do on stage? Who knows what all these acts that are canceling were actually planning to do if it was an America 250 event? We have no idea. Maybe we should be thankful that these people are canceling. Maybe we should look at this and go, wait a second. Just in time, you guys figured out what was going on and you bailed on the event before Trump had to get rid of you. I looked at it and I just couldn't believe it as I was going through all this. President Trump had posted this, and this was yesterday. We should have a giant Make America Great Again rally for 250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear, whose music is boring, and again, who do nothing but complain. So, excuse me, he's hitting it head on here. And as you heard Dana Bash talking to Doug Burgum, she immediately pivoted to, what's this about a Make America Great Again rally? And that is what they're going to hang their hat on. And now, and even though that was after the fact, they're going to hang their hat on that and say that's why people don't want to go. They don't want to be a part of a Make America Great Again rally. Even though he's calling it Freedom 250, now that he has come out and said, maybe we should just do it this way, they don't want any parts of that. Let's continue. He's saying cancel it. This is what Dana Bash was saying. Just like I canceled my involvement with the failing and unsafe to be in Kennedy Center because a highly conflicted, crooked federal judge said that I should not be allowed to spend my time and have my money in order to make the center great again, actually far greater than it ever was before. It would also have been nice to see a Republican-Democrat union bring it back to life. The Kennedy Center is broken, unsafe, and busted. And he put a $. It has been for many years. Judge Cooper also stated that the highly prestigious board of the center was not authorized to add on the name Trump, despite the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars of my time and money would be necessary for its successful reincarnation. What he means by that is they're never going to get the money appropriated by Congress, especially not in a Trump administration. So it's going to sit there completely dilapidated. And he was going to do it for free and bring in his money. Nope, not now. So now it says, despite the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars of my time and money would be necessary. So now the Kennedy Center will collapse both structurally and financially. Judge Cooper and his wife, Amy Jeffress, obfuscation, anyone? Should be ashamed of themselves. Judge Cooper, like numerous other crooked judges on my cases, should be impeached. We are getting to a crossroads here, and I'm going to go into some things where, as a poll said that I put up here, that 97% of you thus far have said, I asked, Republicans have to stop trying to be, quote, the better person, taking the high road. You got to get ready to fight. And 97% of you thus far have said you agree. And what's important about that is that's where we are. These people hate America. They hate Trump. They hate everything he represents. They have their own ideology. You see what's going on up in New Jersey right now. As of 15 minutes ago, the people were running through the streets saying, F America. Wait a minute. I thought this was about some, illegals that were being detained. Now it's F America completely. And so we are getting to the point with the rogue judges and everything else that's going on that we have got to understand we are in a fight for the survival of this country, to the point where certain people won't even stand on stage that President Trump, because he's a president. They won't even grace the stage. They won't sing a flippin' song for people in the audience, people probably who have paid money for tickets in the past, people who have possibly gone to their concerts or listened to them on the radio, and now they're all giving the big middle finger, not to Trump. See, Trump doesn't hurt. He's not going to be the one upset. They're giving the middle finger to America, and they're happy about it. And so right now we are in a spiral where they can see they've got nothing. This idiot up in Maine, where all this stuff is coming out. They're not going to try and do anything with him. They don't care. Doesn't matter. It's power. We just need to beat Susan Collins. We don't care what, this guy could be a drug dealer. He could be anything he wants, but we need that vote. And because we need that vote, we'll look the other way on anything because we need to destroy America. But he's a Nazi. So what? He's been doing kind of crazy stuff. So what? He's our so what? He's our guy. And we have people on the right who, I don't want to do this. We can't do this because they might do it to us. I saw Mike Pence on TV today, and I was like, good gosh, these people just don't get it. They don't even want to stand on stage with us. They don't even want us to hear their music. And I'm going to get into the football player later. They are trying to destroy every different pillar of our lives. A concert means nothing to them. A football game means nothing to them. And the only thing I see that hopefully people will see is that prosperity is going to defeat them. There is a very small slice of society who have no future. A very small slice of society they feel as though they have no hope. There's always going to be a small slice of society who are feeling as though they need to be given everything. They are the proverbial kittens and the glass of milk. And so right now, those people are the squeaky wheel. They're the ones screaming. They're the ones the Democrats are catering to. You're bad if you want prosperity. The Democrats know what's coming. They know as soon as this Iranian war thing, whatever you want to call it, is over, very shortly thereafter, boom, it's going to skyrocket. It's been planned to skyrocket. I believe Iran has been told, stand strong, don't do anything. We got to keep it going. And at any time, we may see things just blow up, but very shortly after things blow up, we are going to see the economy start to rebound very quickly. And when it does, the Democrats know they're absolutely toast. That's why they're starting up this whole summer of love thing. That's why they're doing all of this. That's why they're trying to make it seem as though it's the Trump administration causing the problem. They already know the Iranian thing isn't going to work. You don't think it's coincidental that all of a sudden, all of the eyeballs are on New Jersey and an ICE detention center? They're not even talking about Iran. That story is old news. It didn't work. We know as soon as it's over, people are going to start being prosperous again. You can see it in the messaging that went out today. And so I'm going to show you some of that messaging because I don't want to wallow in mud. I want to look forward to prosperity. And I believe that that prosperity is the kryptonite for the Democrats. The thumbnail that I put up, I hope it pretty much encompassed everything. When you look at this thumbnail, how many of you look at that and go, that's absolutely true? The people on the left, nothing. Anger, screaming, rage, violence, burning, and people on the right are smiling, happy, and looking forward to a better life. And once more people begin realizing that better life, that cheaper gas, that whatever it is you're waiting for, what is going to happen? We've got years left with President Trump. These people will not survive as a party unless they can cause something to happen. And I don't see it happening. And so it was so bad that I saw Norm Eisen, one of the godfathers of lawfare. He was applauding because they made President Trump the court made Trump pull back the $1.8 billion. That's your big win? Doesn't do anything for your party. He was actually applauding that. They were on television talking about how he got that big win. How's that a big win? You didn't even so much as cause a nut to fall off the Trump train. It's barreling ahead. And I feel like sometimes I have to be a cheerleader, but today I'm not going to be a cheerleader. I'm going to let you hear from very prominent people in the Trump administration and my governor down here telling you what's actually going on. If you haven't seen this stuff, get ready, because at this point you should get your seatbelts ready for this rocket ship that's coming. They know it. Trump knows it. I know it. The Democrats know it. They know they can't do anything, so they're going to have to get the Nazi to win in Maine. They're going to have to get these people to do all this craziness in New Jersey. Oh, and let us not forget what tomorrow's calendar turn brings to us. Tomorrow's calendar turn into June is going to be 30 days of unbridled, nasty debauchery broadcast all over X. You see, I put it up this morning and I'm like, you guys realize what's about to happen? And some people, normal people are living their lives. No, what are you talking about? Tomorrow starts Pride Month. The whole month. 30 days in June of nothing but debauchery, disgusting craziness. You won't believe some of the pictures. Maybe now might be the time to take a nice hiatus off of X, if you're on X. Shield your eyes. Shield your eyes from what you will see grown adults doing in front of children. People walking in parades with their junk hanging out. so everybody can see. You'll have every transformer from here to California doing all kinds of cartwheels. Some of them maybe try to do cartwheels. It's going to be disgusting. And I said earlier, I'm like, maybe not now might not be the time you want to take a trip to Disney, and you definitely don't want to go down to Key West. Fantasy Fest. I can't even say on YouTube how bad it is. You don't want to be there. It is the most disgusting thing you'd ever want to see. And I'm not even going to try to describe it for you, but just understand you have a month of it. It'll be on television. It'll be on radio. It'll be on X. It'll be everywhere. They will not allow you to look away. So be careful who you follow and what they do, because you're about to see 30 days of complete depravity. Be forewarned. Been there, done that. Don't ever want to wear that T-shirt. Hey, that's me. How you doing, man? Hold on. What do they do? What do they do up there?
I don't know, man, but I think I'm going to say we need the Insurrection Act. Let's throw balls here, people. Let's fight back. Stop sitting back saying, "Oh, it's going to get better." Come on, fight. Fight.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
It is.
I mean,
they want power and money so bad they're willing to sacrifice their own mother probably to get it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I have two stories. The first one is you know how I love charts and polls and stuff like that. But I read earlier today that there was a Gallup poll that said the trust in traditional media has fallen to a historic low. Wow, what a surprise. So from 1972 to 2025, it dropped 53 points. But at the same time, X continues to reach record levels of usage. X is now the #1 news app in over 150 countries worldwide. So most people seem to be getting their news from X. Interesting factoid. That was from the Doge designer.
Yeah, I believe that. I totally believe it, because it's so funny when you watch news on television. It's always late. It may be days late. I mean, the Sunday shows are basically recaps of what happened during the week.
It's also watered down. It's also diluted. It's also gaslit. It's modified and massaged to make it their position. So
what's your other
here's
story?
Something interesting. Yeah, let's check in it. Let's go see what's happening in LA right now. So a shocking new poll, this is coming off Fox News, says that Spencer Pratt is leading Karen Bass in the race by about a point, 30.1 to 29.5. Karen Bass is underwater by 30 points in her approval rating, which it should probably be down to 0 with what she's done. But 2 days and 2 days. Come on, let's vote. Common Spence. Let's have some common Spence. I was posting that earlier. I love that thing.
It's in 2 days. Is the second, I guess, right?
Yeah, June 2nd, 2 days.
Now, just like with other polls, who put that poll out?
I'm watching it from Fox News. It was a story. It doesn't actually say where it came from, but it was being reported on Fox News.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And Raman was in, she was in at 23%. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, the guy's going, he's going on so many common sense things, like no drugs, safety with moms, safety with families, no drugs, no meth heads, cleaning up the city. I mean, I don't know about you. If I walk out of my house and I see a guy doing a deuce on the street, that's not something I'm looking forward to in the morning, but it's happening. It's happening every single day. I mean, really? I might see a dog do it, but then you're supposed to clean up after your animal.
Okay. The day I walk outside and see some guy taking a squat, I just call the moving people. We're going. We're done. We're out.
You just need to go to LA. I mean, the videos are like, I saw one. I said, I go, what? I was like a dog looking at the owner. What? Not for me. So I pray that he wins, because I really think he's going to clean that place up, and he's going to, make it. It's kind of like the fountains. That's how beautiful they are. The water is blue. They said it smells nice.
Yeah.
I mean, President Trump is cleaning up DC. I love what he's doing, but yet, Democrats. What about the Epstein files?
They got nothing.
They have nothing.
In that same interview with Dana Bash, she started talking about the money being spent on the fountains and everything else. And I loved how he turned it around on her. He says the bigger question is why did it get like that?
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys are in the news? Why didn't you do stories on look at this trash? I mean, President Trump, he had posted a whole bunch of stuff yesterday showing how dirty some of this stuff was. I mean, let me see if I have
Yeah,
it.
there was a picture of a like dumpster with all the stuff they pulled out of it. It was, I think I saw an arm. Just kidding.
Yeah,
but a lot of like wood and metal and just it was all trash. I mean, I haven't been up there in a couple of years. I go to the casino in Maryland. I stay away from DC, but now it starts cleaning up. I might go back and visit again.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, when we went up for the interviews, I used to go to Washington all the time when I lived up north, and I could not believe it. And the first thing I couldn't believe is that it was peaceful. There weren't a bunch of thugs running around, hanging out on the court. It was just, even at night, you could just walk around. I was like, wow. And yes, you did see the National Guard guys, but I don't know. I'm black, and I must not have the right gene because I didn't like. Oh my God, there's National Guard guys there. Oh my God, I feel unsafe. No, just the opposite.
Your fifis aren't hurt. You know, you don't see the tent cities anymore. It's funny how that just disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, that you saw the videos where there was a tents all over the place and the homeless wandering around. That is all gone.
Yeah,
all gone.
It's all gone.
And nobody, you know, on the like CNN or MSN now, none of them have reported to say, yeah, it's amazing. Like no one's getting shot and stabbed and getting their car. Remember the little Big Balls got hit. He got carjacked. Yeah. I don't remember the last time I heard about a carjacking.
Nope, not at all.
So.
I mean, I like I said, I went up there with Ashley. So my daughter's up there, my wife is up there, and I felt safe with them walking around even at night. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. So I was happy with it. I got to share something with you.
Okay.
I think we're about to see something happen with this Freedom 250 concert. So I don't know if you've seen this, but John Rich, this is literally 7 o'clock, so 30 minutes ago, Cat Turd says President Trump should give my buddy John Rich a call. In an hour, he could have the most badass patriotic musicians in Nashville and beyond to put on a 250 celebration for the ages. And John goes, this is true.
Let's do this.
Wow. And I mean, he's been talking about it, so I know it's in the works. Where else did he was talking? He replied to, right here. This one here, he replied to the video I just showed you from Tim Burchett. Hey, Tim Burchett, don't threaten me with a good time. Have guitar, we'll travel. So it's coming. It's coming. Something, they're brewing something big. And I almost, like I said, I almost think it was on purpose. Let these people all cancel. Let them go away. That's not who we want on stage anyway. And now we're going to we'll bring in the big guns and really blow it out. And then they can't bitch. They can't say it's racist. No, there's no black people on stage. Y'all quit. what do you want me to do? You got any more? Hey, excuse me, any black people want to play on stage? Yeah, you can still come. But it's crazy.
Hey, before you split, Trump just posted two things. Can you bring up True Social?
Yeah,
two small stories.
Let me go ahead and refresh.
10 minutes ago, something about the fake news CNN.
And then, CNN again. Oh my goodness. Let's see. What did he say about CNN? Fake news. CNN said today routinely that my Iran nuclear deal doesn't talk about nuclear, when it does state it very clearly that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. It then goes on in very strong and lengthy detail to discuss various other aspects. In fact, that's what most of the agreement is about. CNN and so many others in the fake news media is a low ratings disaster. Even with their new ownership, it's unlikely to ever... They just keep lying. I mean, I watched Stephen Chung the other day just come out and slap the New York... I think I have that too. He said the New York Times... Oh, this one.
Yeah, that story, it was 3 hours ago. Yep.
Yeah, that was
Bashes them as well.
Yeah, he said this. The New York Times wrote a story today entitled "Trump Administration seeks striking exodus of legal talent," and you guys can read it, but it's basically them having to say over and over, "Nope, it's a lie." Why are they bothering? It's because with them, this is all they have left with that quote maximum warfare at all times and stuff. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
I'm gonna summarize for everybody who's coming in late. Fake news.
That's
That's
exactly what it is. All right. Let's see. What do I have here to do? I'll be back at you in a little bit. Let's see. I've got to do a Lear break, and after the Lear break, we'll get everything started. I think I have a Lear break. Yeah, it's right here. All right, see you guys in a couple minutes. Silver and gold are going to be under attack. You guys at this point know it. So you understand what is the most essential asset in your life is one you don't own. I'm talking about silver, the world's industrial the industrial world is running out of it. Despite all of this stuff, it's going to come back to the point where we have to have silver. AI, which President Trump keeps talking about, demands that we have silver. The U.S. government recently designated silver a critical mineral. Why? Because you can't build a single solar panel, electric vehicle, or modern computer without it. You definitely can't do AI without it. So for 5 straight years, we've used more silver than we can possibly mine. For those of you who took economics, that is complete supply and demand. Unlike paper money, producers can't just print more silver to meet this exploding demand. This isn't just a shiny metal. It's a matter of national security, and you're seeing it right now, how it goes down when the oil goes up. It's all being manipulated. Get your information, do your research, don't get caught flat-footed. It definitely is a matter of national security and economic survival. That's why experts see it hitting $150 an ounce, and Bank of America, they said it could climb up to $300 by the end of this year. Think about it. If the industries to power the world need it, if you need it to do everything with AI that President Trump is talking about, with these data centers and everything else, then you know this is a temporary thing, and you see it every other day. But you're going to have to do your own research. I personally own it. I continue to buy because I can tell where that puck is headed. So call my friends at Lear Capital, give them 10 minutes, and they'll help you get started today, or give them a call tomorrow, rather, 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com and download a free silver report. And then read that report and start understanding what's going on in the market, because it's volatile, but there's a stability that has to be in place because they just can't make any more. And now after this whole thing, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't even tell you if it wasn't true. After this Iran thing is done, bada bing, bada boom, it's gonna explode.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
You know, one of the things that I often do is, well, I assume, or maybe I shouldn't assume, that most of you aren't billionaires. Maybe many of you aren't millionaires, but that doesn't mean you can't listen to what billionaires and millionaires are saying. And you can't, I mean, and you shouldn't have an issue with watching what gets reported, because it, again, helps you see where that puck is going. And an interesting story dropped out today at about 6 o'clock. I'm going to show it to you. In the midst of, the economy's falling, everything sucks. It's a story that was way down on the page on CNBC, which I just have to let you guys see this. This is the article that an hour ago. Berkshire Hathaway to buy Taylor Morrison for $8.5 billion in housing push. Said Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company or ex-company, has agreed to acquire Taylor Morrison Homes in an all-cash deal valued at $8.5 billion, the company said in a joint statement today, Sunday, marking an expansion of the conglomerate's housing business. Under the terms, Berkshire will acquire the home builder for $72.50 a share, valuing Taylor's equity at about $6.8 billion. The offer represents a premium of about 24% to the company's closing stock price of $58.50 on Friday, meaning if you held Taylor Morrison home sales, tomorrow you're going to make about a 25 to 26% jump. But that's not the big story. It says the deal underscores Berkshire's long-standing interest in housing, historically centered around Clayton Homes, which it acquired in 2003. We're excited to welcome Taylor Morrison into Berkshire's portfolio, and Berkshire Hathaway's long-term orientation is uniquely well-suited to the multi-year investment cycle of home building, and this combination will allow us to scale the Taylor Morrison platform in ways that would not be possible as a standalone company. I.e., summary, Cliff Notes. They see the housing industry about to explode. They put $8+ billion into the housing industry. They made a move today on Sunday, prior to the markets opening tomorrow, and their investment was $8.5 billion in cash. See, I don't know if you saw that up top here. Let me make sure that you saw that as well. Yeah, here it is. It says under the terms, Berkshire will acquire the home builder for $72.50 per common share in cash. They bought this company for $8 billion in cash. You think they might know where the puck is going? Do you think they're worried that, hey, this economy is about to collapse? They just cut a check for $8.5 billion. Now, I know, well, I shouldn't, maybe one of you does, but for the most part, you probably don't have $8 billion laying around that you can go ahead and do something with. I don't. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't got $8.5 billion. However, I can read something about where the puck is going. Every time I see these kind of stories, I'd like to tell you about them, because what you're hearing in the news isn't really what's happening. And then and the counter argument, well, Barry, they're all billionaires. Well, they spent $8.5 billion of their own cash that they didn't have to spend on something that's going to position them for future generation of revenue. So if they're putting $8.5 billion in cash into the housing market, do you think they realize what's about to happen with Kevin Warsh taking over the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell being out, the Iranian war going to end eventually? Do you think the people who understand, the E.F. Huttons of the world type people, like, oh, did he just put $8 billion into a housing company? Yep. That's where smart money goes. That's where you need to start looking at those kind of things, not the crap you're seeing on X, especially for the next month. Imagine this, for the next month, to stay away from the guys dangling their ding-alongs all around on Pride Month, if you start focusing on the money, where it's going, where Trump is telling you it's going, how it's going to get there, and what the time frame is on it getting there, so that you know that puck is going to be over here probably sometime in July. The big money says, yes, that's where we're going. So at that point, you don't even have to be a billionaire, but you can cheat on it and say, I see what you guys are doing. It's what I'm doing personally. Every time I hear people say how bad the economy is, I'm like, Ashley, you want to tell him? Robin, seriously? Stop listening to idiots. Look at what people are actually doing. I mean, it's crazy. And so now I'm going to play something for you, a couple of interviews today. The first one is with Scott Bessent on Maria Bartiromo's show.
Let me get your take on what we're discussing in terms of the Iran war. How will you ensure that they keep their promises? I mean, after all of the lies and the back and forth with the Iranian leadership, do you have confidence that they're going to keep a promise?
Well, what I have confidence in is that President Trump's going to hold them to it. That with the Iranians, we'll see their government. As I've said, we didn't have regime change, but we changed the regime. The first layer that was decapitated, second layer decapitated. We're on the third group, so maybe they've seen what happened to the others, and they see that what President Trump is willing to do. So if President Trump agrees to this deal, I would tell the Iranian leaders right now, he will enforce it, and both military and economically.
So what are the markers that you're going to use to ensure that they're keeping their promises?
Again, we'll see that the easiest is freedom of navigation in the Gulf, through the Strait of Hormuz. Right. Got to go back to the way it was before. The U.S. Navy has been fighting pirates since before we were a country, and we're not going to put up with these pirates. So, but this is a chance for the Iranian leadership to try to become a normal country. They've been a pariah country for 47 years. They're the largest state sponsor of terrorism. And the Iranian people, they have a rich history. They're great merchants. They have great culture, music, food. And it is a once-in-a-generation chance for the Iranian state or the Iranian people to come back into the global system.
I know that the president has led this obliteration of Iran in terms of the military, but your programs in terms of economic fury, what do you believe was the most significant in terms of sanctions and the economic power that you have put against Iran?
Well, I think there were three parts to it. So I think going in 5.5, 6 weeks on the military, a lot of turmoil there, a lot of their services, a lot of their factories for missiles, drones, taken out of commission. Secondly, it was the the economic side in terms of what we've done. And a big mistake that the Iranians made was attacking their GCC neighbors, their neighbors in the Gulf, because we had many very good allies who maybe weren't completely transparent with us on the money, Iranian money that was in their banking systems, all of a sudden became very compliant in terms of being willing to turn over accounts or help us freeze, block accounts. And then the third part was the incredible blockade. I really think it's the economic blockade of funds and the physical blockade of the ships not going in or out of the Iranian ports. Karga Island is shut down. That's their big oil loading facilities, and that means that they're going to have to start taking down the wells soon.
Now, a lot of
All right, so what he's doing is and she asked a great question because it's a premise as to where things are going. Okay, so how did you do what you did, and what now? I think she's going to get into. Okay, what does it mean? You did this to the Army, you did this to the leadership, you did this to their Air Force, you got this blockaded, then you went after the money and their assets in different countries, and so now you seized all that. And so one of the things that people don't take advantage of and start listening to is the fight is still going on. We're not dropping bombs right now because we're not having to drop bombs because we're destroying them militarily and we're destroying them economically. Are we taking a hit? Yes, just like you would in any sort of conflict. But our hit is temporary. Their hit is forever. They don't have anywhere to go. And it's funny, I did want to share a comment I just saw. This is the kind of comment where I'm not going to come hard at the guy here or lady. This is the kind of comment that keeps people in situations instead of doing something to improve that situation. As I was showing you with the Berkshire Hathaway deal, says, so knowing what the money movers are doing is helpful, but not necessarily a reachable opportunity. If you don't feel it's a reachable opportunity, it's not. You've already talked yourself out of it. The perspective of people who say things like this is they're putting up roadblocks. They're looking at it as, well, I could never do it. No, I could never buy $8.5 billion of home building either. That is never going to be something in the rest of, well, who knows, God could bless me, that I could do. But I'm not going to shoot for $8.5 billion in purchasing. But I know full well now that they are, and others are banking, and it's sort of like playing, poker with SV. They're pushing their chips in. And so you have to realize they got something. And what they have is knowledge. They know something you don't know. So that is your reachable opportunity right there. They know something. They pay people lots of money. Give me data. Give me as much data as you possibly can. I'm about to put $8 billion on the line here. I want to make sure that I know what the hell is happening. Let's talk to the military. Let's talk to Scott Bessent in the Treasury. Let's see what's happening. I need to aggregate all this information so that I can create this opportunity. So instead of going out and spending $8.5 billion on something, the information you can garner as well. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but oftentimes when you see like a McDonald's and then a Wendy's and then, a Kentucky Fried Chicken all in the same like area, is because each one of them knows that the real estate division of these companies has decided, they've done the traffic studies, they understand the income in the area, they understand the demographics, and they're like, we're going to put a spot right there. And then the other guys are like, well, I know they did the homework already. They wouldn't be opening if they didn't already know that there's an opportunity here. How many, before I get back to that, how many of you know what McDonald's #1 product is? Okay. Some of you are going to say the Big Mac. Some of you guys might say fish sandwich. Some of you guys may say milkshakes. Their #1 product is real estate. It's always been about real estate. It's to acquire as much real estate as possible, and those hamburgers can pay off the mortgages while we acquire more real estate. So when you see, you don't see many of them go out of business. You don't see many fast food restaurants go out of business. That happens, but it doesn't happen a lot because they've done so much research. And the ones who buy the pad, the place where they're going to put the restaurant, they also know what the appreciation levels are of the real estate in that area. Chick-fil-A has, when you go by a Chick-fil-A, they often have to have police out there because they know what kind of traffic they're going to get. And so I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time just to let somebody know the opportunity isn't that you're going to spend $8.5 billion. The opportunity is that you can read what other players are doing.
People have asked me recently, will President Trump finish the job?
Well, again, what does finish the job mean? Because if finish the job means making sure that Strait of Hormuz is open, that we get the highly enriched uranium, and that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, that is finishing the job.
Okay.
That's finishing the job. And to be clear, that by whether it's the military intervention, the blockade, or the economic fury, this is the first time the Iranians have ever been willing, 47 years, have been willing to discuss not having a nuclear weapon. It was, a verboten subject, and now it's on the table for the first time thanks to President Trump.
That is such an incredible point. You're right about that. Let me get your assessment of the economy today. Are you surprised that the markets have been incredibly resilient, that the consumer seems to be still holding up, even though we are seeing a spike in inflation?
Well, again, it's a very limited spike, I think. If you look, it's energy driven. It's a supply shock. We will get to the other side of this. Markets live in the future. Markets are looking through this.
All right, so there's a term that some of you may not know. The market exists in the future. Basically, he just said they skate to where the puck is going to be. He just used my analogy in a different way. They live in the future. I can't do anything about today. I can't really do much about tomorrow. But I do know what's going to happen in the future. I am betting that this is what is going to happen. So when President Trump comes out there and he says, we're breaking all kinds of records, we're at 51,000 on the Dow. The problem with the messaging is that it goes over people's heads, most people's heads. The people whose heads it go over don't understand. He's telling them, the people who know. The puck, it's right there. It's flying this way. There's a reason why so much cash is coming into the market. If people were afraid, what would you do if you thought you were going to lose money? You pull back. It's just the opposite. And so the people who can least afford to get into the market are the ones who are not paying attention in terms of what they can do and how they can profit from this. And that profit is being able to actually see the entire, lay of the land, because he's telling you right now.
And another way to phrase it, Maria, though, is many people have said to me, are you surprised that the market's gone up on bad news? And I said, I don't think the news is that bad. I think the news is bad. The quality of the reporting, the anti-Americanism, people are so anti-President Trump, anti this administration that I have perfectly asymmetrical information, and I know we have sunk the Iranian Navy, their Air Force, the 80-90% of their missile factories they are done in, their launch facilities. I know 50% of the military is not getting paid. Police aren't reporting to the stations. I mean, if you were to look at a lot of these major news outlets, and especially the newspapers who now like putting opinion on the front page rather than facts, you would think we are losing. This is a wipeout. We wipe them out. So no, I'm not surprised because, again, the information that I have, that we're looking through this.
I want to go with his information, not the New York Times, not CNN. They don't have your best interest at heart. Even people on the right don't have your best interest at heart. So how can you give them your ear, give them your eyes? This man, I've got an asymmetrical view of everything happening. And I'm telling you, based upon my sense in the market, and this guy's a billionaire himself, we're about to see something. And the fact of the matter is the people in the media who we already know that are lying are the ones that are shaping public opinion, even on with people in the right. If you know that this stuff is complete bullcrap, yet you still listen to it, admire yourself in it, instead of thinking, okay, we are gonna be fine. Actually, we are fine, as he said. It's the news that sucks.
You've got to communicate that to people before the midterms. I mean, President Trump and yourself obviously have been balancing this, getting rid of a potential nuclear terrorist with the idea that oil prices and gas prices have to go down before the midterms.
Well, they will. Oil prices, crude, West Texas is down about 25% from the closing peak a couple of weeks ago. It's down about 12% this month. Gasoline prices are down, I think, about 5% now, and they will go back down. And again, that we understand that there is a disturbance here, that it's uncomfortable for people, but we're going to get to the other side of that. And I think on the other side, the oil market is going to be very well supplied. The UAE has come out of OPEC. I think we maybe got some permanent demand destruction out in Asia. So I am very confident that the energy prices are going to come down very quickly, that we had record tax refunds, I've told you before, 44% of filers, 62 million forms we had filed, they applied for one of the president's 4 signature tax policies. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. They limited tax on Social Security. 85% of our seniors didn't pay tax on their Social Security, and deductibility of auto loans for American-made cars.
Well, the deductibility and the expensing options have been incredible for businesses, and I do think that was a major tailwind for earnings.
And we're seeing the factory construction and manufacturing construction, up 17, 19%. And
he's giving so much information, just one after the other, that the average person, so I'm not insulting anybody, doesn't get it. And you got people mired about, the data centers. Oh my God, the data centers, they're making me eat green mud. And it's all crap. It's all designed to mess with your mind, because they know most people won't actually do the homework to find out what's going on. How much money is being spent, i.e. invested in different neighborhoods across the country. The Democrats want you broke. If you act on everything and realize that the news and the Democrat Party want you broke and subservient to the government, then you will realize how bad it really is. That if you don't have that going in, then you're done, because you're going to fall victim to that, and eventually you're going to have to hold your hand out.
You know what happens, Maria? Construction jobs of facilities turn into manufacturing jobs. We've seen an uptick in manufacturing.
Secretary, I was very surprised that the Senate left without delivering the reconciliation package for funding of immigration, and I just wondered what was behind that. What are your thoughts on that? Was it really the anti-weaponization fund? Was it something else? Was it President Trump's support of Ken Paxton? What was it?
Well, Maria, I was a civilian most of my life. I've only been in D.C. 15 months, so I've learned not to try to predict what motivates people up on the Hill. But what I do know, what motivates the Republican Senate, the Republican Congress, House, is they'll come back. We will get this done, and they do want to work with President Trump and for the American people. There's that. We also want to get the Clarity Act done to make us the digital asset capital of the world. That everyone says to me, well, crypto is this or that. So all the nonsense goes on offshore. If we bring it on shore, have U.S. best practices, a great regulatory framework like we do with securities, like we do with commodities, then that will be very important for crypto. And there are a lot of other things that we got to get done before the summer break.
Secretary, do you have an update for us on tariffs? I know some of the tariffs that are in place will expire in the coming weeks, right, after the Supreme Court decision. Was the president planning on any changes in terms of the tariffs?
So what's going to expire is what's called the Section 122. It's a kind of an emergency 5-month authority that would put on. It's a 10% global tariff. And along with that, we have existing 301s and 232s. But right now, to go back to the tariff structure, the deals that we've struck with countries around the world, whether it's Japan, China, Europe, the whole EU is willing to pay 15% tariffs and take down the tariffs on us. It's an incredible deal. So what's happening now is Ambassador Jameson Greer, U.S. Trade Representative, is doing studies, Section 301, and if those studies are successful, those 301s will get recalibrated to the exact level of the trade deals we had with the countries.
Meanwhile, the Trump accounts have been
Okay. I know that's very confusing. Basically, what he just said is, ain't worried about the tariffs going away. The Democrats don't even talk about the Section 230 and the Section 301. It's way beyond their capacity to even understand. But here's your barometer. If people thought that they were going to lose all this money because the tariffs would be going away, the stock market wouldn't be at 51,000. Again, the indicators, the ratios, the indices, all this information is there because that is the barometer. Like, you take your blood pressure and all these different things, your vital signs. The vital signs are so strong that the Democrats don't want you to know that.
Incredibly successful in terms of the conversation and the amount of demand out there. I will tell you that my niece just had a baby, and she's 7 weeks old, and I'm encouraging them to sign up for the Trump accounts. This was such a good idea. And you said in your remarks that financial literacy has always been important to you. Same with me. It starts at home, doesn't it?
It does. And look, your niece has no better role model, but for many people around the country, 38% of American families have no exposure to our great equity market. They don't participate in the innovation, in our economic engine. They don't understand our great management. So with the Trump accounts, with the children who were born during President Trump's administration, Treasury will seed those accounts with $1,000. But anyone with children under 18 should open a Trump account because many of the great philanthropists are also putting money in. Families can put up to $5,000.
Oh, okay. So did you hear that? Again, following the money. Hey, the philanthropists are putting money in. Other people are putting money in. Ergo, you should be putting, if you have a child or a grandchild, putting money in that qualify into this. And then he said 38% of people have no participation in the equity market. So that means that, let's round it to 40. 40% of the people in America don't have any participation in equity markets. So that would mean if there's 6,000 people here right now, that 40%, 2,500 of you watching right now are on the outside looking in. For whatever reason, for whatever the historical reason that you never participated in, I venture to say it's because you didn't have the knowledge. And because you didn't have the knowledge, it becomes very scary, where now they're trying to make it very simple.
$1,000 in per year, per child. And many states are going to participate. Corporations are going to participate. Comcast is participating.
This is such a great idea, yeah. Secretary. Thank you for that. All right. The president and yourself have had such courage in terms of doing things that past presidents, past Treasury secretaries would not do. I mean, it's countless. And I want to talk a little about the potential for another courageous move, because here we are at the Reagan Economic Forum, and 40 plus years ago, under President Ronald Reagan, mandatory spending was 1/3 of all federal spending. Today, it's 2/3 of federal spending. Is that something that the president is going to tackle?
I'll tell you, Maria, what we got to do, we got to get the short term in order before we get the long term in order. So that we had a fiscal contraction for fiscal year 2025, that when I got to Treasury, the year before, we'd had the worst budget deficit when we weren't in war, weren't in a recession, 6.7% of GDP. We brought that down to about 5.5, 5.4%. And I've talked about trying to get it down, something with a 3 in front of it by the time the president leaves office. So we've got to get that under control before we can tackle the big problems.
And because, I mean, if we're continuing to spend all this money on Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, we won't have any money left to spend on anything else, right?
Again, we gotta work on the here and now. You know, I always call it crawl, walk, run. That we came in, that we were crawling. Now we're getting upright and starting to walk. And you know, I think once we solve this, we can think about running.
How soon do you expect some of those other things, putting oil and gas aside, talking about fertilizer and memory prices and other things that are costly?
Okay, so fertilizer is a direct result of the strait being closed. A lot of the raw materials coming out of there. So again, that's going to roll down. 75% of the fertilizer needs for U.S. farmers had already been taken care of for this planting season. So that I am confident that we will have ample fertilizer at a good price for the 27 planting season. And then, you know, some of these, memory is just a function of demand.
I love that. Memory is just a function of demand. He just gave you another nugget. 75% of the farmers have complete adequate fertilizer. So they only have a smaller problem to fill than the news makes it out that, oh my God, we're not going to be able to grow any crops. And so they've reduced the problems. They need to reduce the spending, which they're going to do like anybody does in their household budget. And the Democrats are freaking out. If they can't spend, they can't do anything. That's the difference between Republicans or MAGA and Democrats is they think they should be writing checks instead of having you get more prosperous so you can do things on your own.
It's just a function of demand. And Micron, thanks to President Trump, they 100% expensing for their new factory. They're out in Virginia. They're bringing it onshore. So it just means we have a boom.
I got to ask you about the $250 bill that the president is talking about in terms of putting his image on the $250 bill. Is this really going to happen?
Well, we'll see. There's pending legislation in the House. If it passes, then we'll do it. And, you know, Maria, I think it's fitting. President Trump is the president during our 250th anniversary. That Calvin Coolidge was president during the 150th anniversary, and there was a coin printed for him. And you know, I think it's a great celebratory note for a great president.
And will we also have a coin with President Trump's image?
There's already a coin.
There's already a coin.
There's already a coin. So, Treasury, we have sketched it out, what it would look like, because we have to prepare way in advance. And if the legislation passes, then we'll do it. If it doesn't, we won't.
Now, what about your currency? Because has that been printed yet?
It's been
Scott Bessent signed dollars and currency in general?
It's been printed. The bills haven't been registered with the Federal Reserve. You'll be seeing more on that probably in the next 2 weeks.
All right, so Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, just heard from him. Now we're going to hear from Kevin Hassett. Want to take a minute here because SV's got some news. This is pretty funny. Oh, God. Is this real?
It is. Governor Milky Sherry, we know you work for Trump.
Well, I'll let you have. I'll let you have this one. Go ahead, man. Because
leftist rioters are now going berserk on Democrat Governor Mickey Sheriel, chanting, "We know you work for Trump," after New Jersey State Police helped secure the ICE Newark area. The left are eating their own. They say, "Mickey Sherry, you can't run. We know that you work for Trump." And that's what they're doing. I mean, make it make sense. I love it.
You can't. These people are just bat poop crazy. And I was talking to Robin today during lunch. We were out by the pool, and I'm like, we've said it for a long time. There's so many people, they're never coming back. Forget it. Write them off. They're never coming back. And
one of the signs I paused the video. It says, "We begged Mickey Sherrill for help, and she tear gassed us." Really? When did she do that?
so what time
I
does?
thought I saw.
Good.
I was going to say, I thought I saw the Antifa thugs that were coming in from out of state throwing the stuff back at the state police, who were not in any kind of gear to handle that. I mean, I think, you know what, I'm going to run for president. I just made it up. Yeah, I'm going to run for president. I'm declaring presidency tomorrow. I mean,
It's true 'cause I just said it. It's 8:19. What time is the curfew supposed to start? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I posted it earlier. I think it was 9 p.m. I can I'll grok it, but yeah, they're probably not going to go by it.
Oh, so the games are going to start at 9:15 or so then.
Yeah. I'm grokking it right now.
You know what's funny? As I'm looking at the tweet that Eric put up, there's not a whole lot of them out there. I mean, there was a shot here a second, a crowd shot. There was like a couple hundred people. Is that it?
I think there's going to be more because earlier Nick posted that. You remember the guy that threatened to unalive? They found out he wasn't even from this area. He was from out of state. So it's not organic. We know that. Of course we know that. The curfew is from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice.
All right. So in 40 minutes from now, we should check in and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. This woman is a new governor. She just got put in, and she's already over her head. She can't do anything. And
Well, I saw what you posted. You posted something like, blink twice if you're. It's true though.
Yeah.
She worded it like she wrote this long diatribe, and like you could tell she was just towing the line, trying to curtsy to the Antifa mob, but it wasn't enough. She should have come out saying, "We're going to arrest your asses." I mean, come on, you're breaking the law.
Crazy.
I mean, back in the day, I never even thought when I grew up to assault a police officer, let alone a state trooper that has a neck the size of a barrel.
No,
I mean these guys they're huge.
Now you're from were you born in Virginia?
No, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay, so you have met probably many Jersey state troopers. The Jersey state troopers,
I got ticketed.
They are known for don't F around with Jersey state troopers. I mean, because they only got one road to monitor. that term.
Well, they also have the Garden State Parkway. That's the road that a lot of people take down to go to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, you go to the shore. But for the most part, right up and down there. And they know that's where the drugs are run. They know all the trafficking is run right up through the Jersey Turnpike. So you do not mess with those guys. And that's probably why she was so slow to release them, because they're like pit bulls. I mean, and like you said, they're huge, big guys too.
I mean, I don't know where they're coming from, but they're like you, a big guy, bouncer type guys, right?
All right. Well, keep me posted with a text if something happens. I think up next is Kevin Hassett. Let's see.
When necessary, we will take aggressive legal action.
All right. So this isn't Kevin Hassett. Kevin Hassett is after this. I wanted to show you this. This is an interview she did today as well with Ron DeSantis. And, I talk about Florida a lot. I live down here, as you know, and it just surprises me because I don't understand why other states aren't sending their governors and saying, what are you doing? How are you doing it? What exactly are you doing to make this state so prosperous? And so he's going to tell you.
Remove negligent owners and property managers. And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards. Stewards that include community land trusts, nonprofits, or even the tenants themselves.
And that's New York City Democrat Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani vowing to seize property from owners that the city determines have failed to upkeep their buildings. It's part of Mamdani's housing plan to build 200,000 new subsidized homes and preserve another 200,000 over the next decade at the cost of $22 billion. Meanwhile, in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is proposing property tax relief for residents that would raise the homestead exemption from $50,000 to $250,000, which he says would eliminate.
All right, so first, let me tell you what a homestead exemption is, because many people don't have that where they live. So if you declare that a property that you live in is where you live, it's your homestead. And if you file it for a homestead exemption, the first X amount of dollars of your home's value comes off of, your taxes. And that's why so many people, even if they're down here 6 months and a day, it's so tax advantageous to live in Florida.
Property taxes for some 60% of Florida homeowners. DeSantis is also calling a special session for Florida's state legislative session tomorrow, which, if approved, would put the measure on the ballot this November. Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive live is the 46th governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Governor, great to have you this morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, what a contrast looking at what you're doing in Florida and what they're doing in New York. Walk us through your housing plan and why this exemption lift is so important in terms of property values and taxes.
Well, Maria, at the state level, we're one of the lowest, if not lowest, tax states in the country. No income tax, generous exemption on our sales tax for core items. We've eliminated taxes like business rent and all that, and we're proud of that. And our spending has reflected it. I'm going to sign a budget later this month or next month that will represent 4 straight years of spending reductions in the state of Florida, and we're very proud of that. But at the local level, which is where the property tax revenue goes, we've gone from local governments taking $32 billion in 2019 in taxes to now $60 billion. That's almost 100% increase in revenue. And look, part of it is people have moved here. Part of it is that property values have gone up, but homeowners need relief. And so it's my view that if you are a Florida resident and you have a homestead, we want that to be tax-free. And so that's our vision. That represents about 30% of the overall property tax revenue, because they still tax investment property, commercial property. And so this ballot measure will do an opening salvo of raising it, the exemption to $250, adjusted for inflation, so they can't play games. That will be 60% of Florida homesteaders tax-free. Then as they raise it, the legislature will be able to raise that and have a process to do that. Once you get to 500,000 limit, that's 92% of homeowners. And then on it goes from there.
My man, my governor. Can you understand the difference of picture that you're looking at? You got a guy in New York City who does nothing but want to spend, and spend more. And he wants to take your property, which is the antithesis of a strong economy. And we're going to give it to tenants who can't afford to do anything. And on the other side, you got a guy like DeSantis who is like, we're going to lower your taxes. We don't charge state income tax. We have a variable sales tax. And now we're going to eliminate property tax. And she's going to ask him a question like, how the hell are you doing it? How are you surviving as a state with having so little tax? And I'll let him explain.
But if we don't give homeowners relief, Maria, by 2032, they're going to be taking in $83 billion. So that would mean $32 billion in 2019. 13 years later, it goes to $83 billion. That is not sustainable. And so this is really a historic opportunity to have more money in people's pockets and to actually have their home be their private property that the government just can't use as a piggy bank.
You know, one of the, I see a comment here, and it says, Barry, isn't homeowners insurance high due to hurricanes? Well, there's a number of different programs. There's also one that's run by the state as well. But see, you shouldn't worry that much about that insurance, because if you're not paying all the other stuff, you're able to absorb a little bit higher hurricane casualty insurance. And so for those who can't afford it, again, that goes by the value of your property. It's almost like that's the one socialist thing we have down here. If you're trying to insure a $100,000 property, it's a lot different than insuring a $25 million property. It goes up according to the risk. So it's not that big a deal for most of the people who live here, especially if you get out of South Florida and you get into some of the other areas, like Orlando and different parts of the coast. It can be high, but it's not as high, and it goes based upon the dollar value that you have to insure.
Well, this is incredible. And, with all of these tax attractions that have attracted so many people to Florida, a lot of people are wondering, how do you do it? I mean, you've got critics there saying local governments will have to make up the lost revenue somewhere. So how do you do that? If you've got no income tax, you're cutting property taxes, possibly eliminating them. Where are you getting the money to fund government and everything else, all the other services?
Well, so, we're focusing on homestead. Obviously, they tax property that are non-homestead, residential, Airbnb, Canadian snowbirds, commercial. That's a lot of money that they have. And so even if we eliminated homestead revenue entirely, that would just put their budgets back to like 2021, 2022 levels. But we're phasing it in, so it's a very, I think, manageable process. So I don't think you need to, quote, make up. I think they should start figuring out ways to change their spending so that taxpayers benefit. However, in our proposal, because we have surplus at the state level, we are creating a fund that will be able to issue grants to local governments. So if you really say, you need help with a fire or sheriff's department or education, we'll have grants that we're going to be able to do that for this period. But what's going to happen is this is going to increase the economic base of all these local areas because people are going to have more money in their pocket. They are going to start getting more revenue from existing taxes without having to add new taxes, and they're going to end up in a very stable situation very shortly. And not even going to need this state money. But what they're not going to be able to do is go from $60 billion in revenue to $83 billion over the next 5 years. We can't afford that to happen. So it really represents a big, I think, benefit to the taxpayer, but it does represent a spending restraint on local governments. I mean, look.
That is the most important thing. You hear some of these states, Connecticut, New Jersey, Mondami, New York. One of the things you don't see a lot of here are the cities, counties, little towns having to pay for so many indigents. That's the byproduct of having a strong immigration enforcement and understanding. You hear people all the time say, Florida's too expensive. Yeah. If you don't have any money, Florida's really expensive. And I don't mean you have to be a millionaire, but if you don't have a job, and if you don't have a place to live that you can afford, there's no reason for you to be here. So we don't have to pay that much in all of the SNAP benefits and everything else because there's so much opportunity. Now, I'm going to tell you, before all this immigration stuff happened, I never met, and I'm talking, I'll go back to 2010 when I first started buying properties in this area. I never met a Haitian. I never met a Cuban. I never met a Mexican. I never met a Honduran. I never met a Guatemalan who wasn't working their ass off. Now, I don't know what their immigration status was, but I don't ever recall people sitting at home waiting for government checks. There's too much opportunity. Go wash a boat. Learn how to do scuba and scrub the barnacles off of a boat. Things that you wouldn't even think of in other areas. Every single lawn service, you got a truck, you're going to make some money. You want to do a car detailing, you're going to make some money. You want to walk dogs for people in communities, you're going to make some money. And so you don't see the same amount of people who are, dependent upon the government. They want it that way, You surely want to import those people, but they don't. They're not here, even in the inner cities. And so, do they have Section 8? Of course. Do they have people on SNAP benefits? Of course. But it's not like it is in other areas where the Democrats promote that. That's one of the big differences.
We've had inflation, we've had population growth, but look at Florida's state budget. We're doing massive things. Everglades restoration is the largest environmental restoration in the history of the U.S. Massive infrastructure investments, increasing teacher pay. We're doing all of that, and yet we're still reducing our overall budget. So
you know what the state bird is in South Florida? They call it the crane. Not the bird crane, the cranes that are building. As you drive down A1A, as you get to, I don't know, like south of Hallandale, it looks like just giant cranes all the way up and down. The infrastructure is being rebuilt. The highways have to keep getting rebuilt. That's another thing people don't realize. Down here, there is so much traffic, there are so many people that every couple of years they have to widen the highway and do something. And so when you get down towards North Miami, it looks like some sort of, Sim City game where you got off ramps and on ramps and all kinds of things happening, and they keep having to expand. The more they have to expand, the more jobs. The airport has to expand. Where we are, there are 3 international airports within about 90 miles. You got the Donald Trump Airport in West Palm Beach, you got the Fort Lauderdale International, and then you've got Miami. All just in one area, and they're constantly under construction. So I'm not beating a horn for Florida. I'm saying, why aren't these other states doing this? I can't answer that. It's on purpose. It's intentional. Let me know the next time or last time you've seen one of these crazy rallies or, these protests. No, ain't gonna happen. Is there crime in certain hoodie areas? Yeah, but it's not. I don't understand how people in other areas put up with it.
Be done, and I'm not saying 32 billion. Even if you assume they were spending everything right, it would have gone up because of inflation, but not to 60 billion.
So, I mean, this is the classic example of just managing budgets well. I mean, versus other poorly run states. Compare your budget process to, for example, New York or even New York City.
So our budget in Florida with 23.5 million people is less than the budget of New York City, which,
the entire flipping state is less than the budget of New York City. 3 times as many people in the state of Florida, and this guy is spending up there like a drunk sailor on leave. It's crazy.
As 8 million people, it's a big city, but a lot less than the whole state of Florida. New York State's budget is well over twice as large as Florida's budget. I think New York's budget's like 260, 270 billion. Our budget has been basically around 117 billion, give or take a little bit, for the last 4 years. And so I think we have 4 million more people than New York State does. Now, New York used to have a lot more than Florida, and so we're doing it. And we have either the lowest or second lowest per capita spending of any state in the country. And one of the things I'm proud of is that if you take all of Florida's debt that we've accumulated since statehood in the 1840s, just since I've been governor, we've retired 50% of that debt through our aggressive debt repayment policies. So it can be done. And I think what happens is when you do it right, when you respect taxpayers, it creates a good harmony in the economy where people are more apt to want to come here. They're going to be more apt to invest here. And then you can even lower tax rates. I think the New Yorks of the world, they're in a vicious cycle. They have a shortfall, so they go back and try to jack up taxes. That causes their economic base to constrict because people react negatively to it. Then they got to go back to the well again. Well, you can't keep doing that vicious cycle.
Well, that's exactly what we're seeing in California as well. I want to take a break and talk about all those tech entrepreneurs and investors that have moved to Florida. We've got more with Governor Ron DeSantis when we come right back.
And she's exactly right. The tech sector is, I don't know many sectors down here that aren't exploding. And again, I'm not beating my chest about Florida. I want you to understand that. I'm not saying, hey, move to Florida. What I'm saying is, why aren't these other states doing it? They have a role model. They may not have the tourism dollars. I understand that. I don't know what the tourism is in Minnesota. But the other side of that is, what are you doing and why are you giving all this money to Somalis? What exactly is it? Why are you spending so much? Doesn't make any sense. It's not sustainable. You're seeing it's not sustainable at this point. And that's why the Democrats just want to keep spending. So my thing with listening to Ron DeSantis is, I have a business model that other states could follow, and they refuse to follow it. They just won't do it. Not at all. It's crazy to me. Hey, listen, I'm gonna take a second here. I got talk to you about one of our sponsors tonight, which is perfectly because they dovetail off of the real estate stuff we've been talking about. Have you heard about the $17 million fraud scheme, another fraud scheme that targets elderly homeowners in Los Angeles?
An early morning FBI fraud takedown across LA County. Fox 11, the only TV crew there, as federal agents and police storm a North Hollywood home, zeroing in on a man they say is tied to a sprawling mortgage fraud scheme.
It's a complex fraud scheme in which people are using private citizens' homes to leverage that to steal money.
Moments later, the suspect walks out barefoot and in pajamas, placed in handcuffs. Parked outside, high-end cars, a Range Rover and Lexus, the home itself appearing freshly remodeled. This image from Apple Maps compared to how it looked Thursday morning.
They live a very elaborate lifestyle based on the ill-gotten gains of this type of fraud.
This arrest related to about 10 others happening simultaneously across LA County and as far away as Florida and Canada.
This organized crime network has their minions, so to speak, on the lending side and the theft side of it.
I mean, nobody likes to see somebody get a bunch of money for nothing, basically. People they paid off their mortgages and their homes, they should feel confident that, they still own those homes free of encumbrances.
According to charging documents, the suspects stole identities, often from elderly victims, then used those identities to access property records. From there, they convinced private lenders to hand over millions, falsely claiming those homes as collateral.
Oh, yeah, and they do it all the time. I've even seen it down here in Florida. These thugs, they use fraudulent identities, or even yours, and public title records to forge documents and take out loans against, in this instance, LA properties, but they're doing it everywhere. And the homeowners didn't know anything about it. And now, despite multiple arrests, the homeowners are left to clean up the legal and financial nightmare. And if you're a homeowner without protection in place, this could well be you. Older homeowners, elderly, boomers like me, are disproportionately targeted because their properties often have higher equity and their identities are easier to exploit without immediate detection. In addition, many people are technologically savvy, and so they don't know that these thugs are in there doing crazy things with their properties. That's why I've been partnering for a couple months with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim and protect yourself or your loved ones' homes against this growing crime. Use promo code BARRY at HomeTitleLock.com to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if you're a victim of fraud, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. And so, as you've been seeing and how crazy things are with fraud these days, they're going to be doing everything they can to steal as much money as possible in the hope that you don't see what they're going to be doing. So again, go to HomeTitleLock.com, use the promo code BARRY, or use the link in the description below. Be back in 90 seconds.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, SV, are we starting to see the fun? Is the fun starting to happen?
Yeah, I'm posting about it. Nick's giving an update since he's there. He says, well, we're now, 16 minutes away from curfew. He says that state police and the Newark police are going over a megaphone saying, 30 minutes, get out of the streets or you will be arrested. And there's hundreds of them still there. So it should be interesting because also it looks like that, let me bring this up here. Heavy tactical vehicles from the Essex County Sheriff's Department have just arrived. Nick says these guys don't seem to be messing around, nor do they seem fazed by the mentally ill woman standing in the street telling them to GTFO.
Oh, there she is.
That's a video I sent you. Look. Ah!
Oh my God.
Yeah, can't they just lose their handle on the hands on the steering wheel and run her over?
And if I'm looking at this video correctly, and let me rewind it to where the crazy lady walks out. Something tells me, and let me confirm. Yep, she's a crazy white liberal woman.
Yeah, there's that purple hair. She's got horns, some kind of reindeer games.
Oh my gosh.
She's wearing some kind of black schmuck. I mean, oh my God. Get a job, man.
These people are absolute crazy. It scares me looking at these people going, how are we going to ever coexist with this? We can't. Just stay in your areas, wear a badge, do something. Oh gosh.
You know what I'm really happy about? One thing about what they say, don't procreate. Don't. Thank you, dear.
Oh
Jesus.
my goodness.
We don't want to have any more of them.
If we could only get their vote away from them, that's the other side. But it should be some sort of competency test or something. You got to be able to spell your name without drooling or something. This one is crazy.
Speaking of which, speaking of the competency, so Trump was out there striking a golf ball while the liberal news was saying that he's unfit and he failed his test. And oh my God, I mean, what's he got to do? Run around like DC, like going like Rocky going up the stairs? I mean, he should do that actually. That would be cool.
All they can do is lie. That's it. That's just lie.
This lady, look at her. She's like one of the witches from the Coven.
She looked like she's got a dog mask on or something. I mean, when she gets her profile, and she comes back, she had a dog mask.
Yeah, she is. She's wearing
she's a furry.
She's a furry. This is just nuts.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh, they bring
She's gonna bite him. Look out, she's got rabies.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's see if I can stop it so you can see the mouth.
Oh no, hey, look, look at the guy next to the car. He also is wearing a mask. You see the pickup truck behind her? He's also wearing a dog mask.
The guy in the white right there?
Look, right there. Isn't that
yeah.
Is that a dog mask or is that a respirator? It's a gas mask. It looks like a dog mask.
Oh, why are you making me laugh that hard? I can't take it right now. Oh gosh, I'm sure we'll see some more good stuff in a little bit. All right, let me continue.
Keep you posted because we got 13 minutes, and either hell's going to break loose or I'm looking forward to seeing some action.
Well, we'll be here. I'm going to finish off with DeSantis real quick. Thank you.
Sounds good.
I needed that laugh.
I'm back now with the 46th governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who has been overseeing a massive movement of high earners, companies, tech founders, investors, and startups all to Florida because of attractive policy. Governor, how important is it when you see these billionaires saying, bye-bye Florida, bye-bye New York, bye-bye California with your billionaires tax. I'm setting up a second headquarters in Florida. What has that meant for the state?
Well, I can tell you we're getting a lot of help with some of these leftist politicians and these other jurisdictions. You've chronicled it for years when I've been on about what's happened out in the Northeast. But I will tell you, in the last 9 months, the amount of wealth we've seen move from California simply because of the threat of this wealth tax has been unprecedented, certainly in Florida's history, but I would say probably in American history if you look at the type of people who have done it, and it's for good reason. They want to tax 5% of wealth. They claim it's billionaires, but these taxes will apply to people who are less than that. But even if it's just the high people, they're taxing your voting rights in a company. You may not even own the equity, and they're going to impute value to that. Then you're going to have to just write them a check. And then what are they going to do with that money? They're going to give it to public employee union.
How desperate must you be as a governor to say, we want to tax your money even if you haven't realized it yet? Remember, Kamala said that they wanted to tax unrealized capital gains. So if you owned a house and you bought it for $200,000 and you just are a good boomer and that house is worth $400,000, but you haven't sold it, we're going to tax you on that extra $200,000 of profit, of capital gains. But I didn't sell my house yet. That's okay. We're still going to tax you on it. Well, how am I supposed to pay it? I don't know. I guess we'll take it from you. It makes absolutely no sense. But actually it does, because they need the money.
Who run the state of California. So you can understand why people wouldn't want to be subjected to that. So we've seen that in a really big way. I mean, very, very significant people. And I think we have a good environment. I'm proud of what we've done. Don't get me wrong. Rule of law, low crime, education choice, no income tax, all that's important. But we are having help because they're doing destructive policies, and when people react negatively to them, they go back to the well and just do it again.
Unbelievable. And of course, the election coming up in November. Governor, you haven't publicly endorsed anybody. Are you going to stay neutral, or are you going to get behind somebody in a big way going into the governor's election this November?
Okay. Byron Donalds, he ain't going to like this.
Well, I've got to deal with this property tax. I've got to deal with the budget. And I've always told people, I typically don't do the political stuff prior to me getting all the ducks in a row that I need to make sure that the state is going well. So we'll see how that all shakes out over the next couple of weeks. But I will say this. When I got elected governor in 2018, Florida was a swing state. It was the swing state.
Wow.
1-point races. We had 300,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. I won narrowly initially. Now we have 1.5 million more registered Republicans than Democrats. And so that's a sea change politically that I don't think has any peer in the modern history of this country. And part of it is because I think we've led the way on so many policies, and people have responded. And so that's kind of the landscape that we have going into November. As you know, we did do a congressional redistricting map. There was a need to do that based on recent Supreme Court decisions. We sent a map to the legislature. They passed it a few weeks ago. A lot of crowing, saying, oh, they're going to be sued, all this stuff. And guess what? Of course we got sued. And the judge ruled in our favor. And so that map is sticking for the 2026 cycle. So we'll see what happens. But I think we've got a lot of great momentum as a state. Clearly, politically, we've seen major change in a positive direction. And 2024 presidential election, not any money was spent in Florida at all.
Think about that. The Democrats got their butts beat so bad, they didn't even try to compete in Florida. And as of right now, I don't even see anybody. I mean, this one guy who's on MS Now is trying to run for governor, but he's like non-existent. They're not even getting behind the guy. No money coming down here from the Democrat Party.
And I can tell you, having lived here, we used to be inundated, but the Democrats realized they couldn't even compete. So that's a huge story in and of itself.
It sure is. You've done a great job, Governor. So is there any unfinished business before you leave office that you want to tell us about? And what role do you see yourself playing in the Republican Party post-governorship?
Well, yes, we do have unfinished business. I mean, clearly the property tax is going to be put before voters, and if the voters give 60%, then I'll have to work with the new leaders of the legislature in November, December to do an implementing legislation to implement that property tax plan, which will be very beneficial to a lot of people. And so we're already obviously thinking about that, and we'll be ready to go. We also just have, you never know what Mother Nature throws your way. We put a lot of emphasis on hurricane preparation. We did not have to use that preparation last year. That was a welcome relief. We'll knock on wood and hope that happens again, and we always hope for that, but we are prepared to be there if people need us in those instances. So I would just say stay tuned on that. And we've got other things up our sleeve over the next 6 months, and we'll do that when it's appropriate. So stay tuned.
What about your future governor? Would you work in the Trump administration?
I've got to do my job here. I really don't even think about it because, quite frankly, I've got a lot of irons in the fire. And I think if you're out there peacocking about doing other things, then it's like, well, wait a minute. We want property tax relief. We want all these things. And so that's just typically how I've done things. You kind of take it a day at a time. But, we've worked very good with President Trump. He's been amazing for Florida, just on Everglades. No one even talks about it. And it's literally the biggest restoration in history, and that would not have been possible had he not supported us.
Fair enough. Amazing stuff here. Governor, great to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Now, I know Ron probably has some idea of running for president, but I got a perfect job for him. It just happens to have opened up about 2 weeks ago. If you don't know, Ron DeSantis was in the Navy. I think it was Navy. And I think he'd be a perfect person to take Tulsi Gabbard's spot. That job is just sitting there. And just wondering how long President Trump will keep it open. He'll probably do an interim person, but I think Ron DeSantis would be absolutely amazing as the new DNI. Watch. Keep an eye on him for that. SB, you got something else, man? What are these people doing now?
I just sent you a post. Let's see here. Actually, give me a second here. It's Eric Doherty. It's about 2 minutes ago. I think I did send it to you.
I got it.
Yes, there it is. There it is. It's a 2.5 minute video. I haven't scanned it, so I don't know if there's anything bad, but it's a lady freaking out. She's one of the left-wing medics saying, "We got to leave, got to go, got to go."
Who's got to leave? Oh, everybody has to get out. So it's not just the protest. It's not just the protesters. They're saying everybody get out. Wow.
Yes.
So all of their medical help is all of their medical help is going to get booted out as well.
Yeah, they have 4 more minutes.
Hold on.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine seeing them running? It's like seeing the left-wing reporters chasing after Trump, like running, stumbling all over the White House lawn. Most of them are not in good shape. Trust me on this one.
All right, so let me tell you, I've got it ready to play, and she does drop a couple F-bombs here, so they're freaking out. But here's what's getting ready to happen up in New Jersey right now.
Oh, we need to get out. You understand me? We made our point. If you're willing to stay, thank you, but please don't risk your life. We could come back tomorrow. We could come back any other day. You understand what I'm saying? These people are not fucking around. This is not a fucking game. Veronica, there are horses coming up too as well. They're coming up right now. Let's go. Get out.
Go, guys. You don't need to leave.
I got word that they're locking people up tonight at 9 o'clock. We got 20 minutes to get the fuck out of here. Get out. I'm not leaving my medics.
I'm actually based in DC, so we don't know a lot about the interaction.
You sticking around? Do you need cover? Everybody out. If you stay, you're not going to have a medic. I'm moving my medics out of here. Get out.
Where are you moving to, though?
We're leaving. We're leaving. We're out that way.
This way. They're
Go that way.
Off the road. Come on.
They blocked that They're giving us time to leave. Get out. Medics, I'm taking my medics out of here. If you're going to stay, you're at your own risk. Get out. Listen, they're very violent. They're very violent. Okay? You're not going to have any medics. I have to get my people out of here. I'm not going to risk them to get arrested. They're blocking that way. They already blocked that way. They're going to block this way. Get out. That's it. Just get out. Out.
They're trapped.
Listen, we're medics. You're not going to have any medics here. You're going to get hurt. If you're going to stay, stay. That's up to you. That's to you. Listen, that's up to you. Then that's up to you. Go ahead.
Jeez. Oops, Barry, you weren't supposed to catch that. Hey, I have something. So did you see she was a medic? She had red duct tape. I wouldn't let her near me to apply a Band-Aid. She's got no medical degree. I mean,
oh gosh.
Get away.
This stuff is, they should just run it out of loop tonight, and so people can just have like a laugh track put underneath. It's like, oh
my God.
Oh gosh. I need more. I need more.
Hey, can we do the winning?
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Oh, I'm tearing up here, Barry. I mean,
you're tearing up.
I've laughed as hard in months.
You're making me cough. I'm like, these people. All right, so let me move on to the next story. But keep it coming.
All right.
Keep it coming. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. I just can't. All right, we're going to finish up with the economic stuff with Kevin Hassett.
And joining us also from the White House now is the National Economic Council Director, Kevin Hassett. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Thanks, Shannon. Great to be here.
Okay, so you know how people are feeling. Our polling shows it from Fox News and beyond. So let's talk about how we sum up the recent data. Politico says this: inflation is running hotter than at any point since Trump's return to office. The economy grew much more slowly through the first 3 months of this year than previously assumed. Measures of personal income are falling, and consumer sentiment has plummeted below even the historic lows recorded during the pandemic and post-COVID-19 inflation surge. I want to work through some of those things individually, but first of all, the overall vibe. When can you tell Americans things are actually going to get better?
Right. Well, first of all, it's absolutely true that energy prices are high, and that affects the top line consumer price index and PCE, something that the Fed looks at. But if you dig down and look at what's happening to everything else, then you're not seeing a lot of feed through from the high energy prices to everything else. And so right now, if you go to the Cleveland Fed, they have a real-time estimate of what inflation is going to be like right now this month, and they're saying that core is going to be 0.23. Which is just about the Fed's target and literally half of what it was most of the time under Joe Biden. And so for sure there's a short-term disruption with energy prices, but core inflation isn't taking off, and that's the history of what we've seen before, which is why, in fact, at the Fed they look at core, not top line, because they know that energy prices tend to bop up and down. The next thing is that real incomes are soaring. If you look at real wage data, then the typical American family has gained about $3,000 $3,000 since President Trump took office after losing, after inflation, more than $3,000 under Joe Biden. And so we've got, smoothing through the ups and downs, even with the higher price of energy, real incomes on the rise. And for construction workers, for manufacturing workers, for mining workers, the numbers are really astonishing. For mining workers, their real incomes this year are up $7,000 per year.
Okay, so you talk about growing wages, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics, according to their data, inflation is now outpacing wage growth. So if people are making more money, but things are costing more, how do you answer that question and that concern?
That's a technical matter. It's the personal income report that came out last week that said that it was slightly negative. But personal income includes lots of things like transfers and food stamps and things that we have been reducing as part of our effort to make government leaner and meaner. And so the best measure right now is to look at the wage data. That's by far the best measure. And the real wage data are showing big increases right now.
Okay.
All right, so he just explained something really important because people think that, well, the news will say people are making less money, even though it's all the data says they're making more money. But when you average in the people who are on public assistance being removed from public assistance, problematic for them.
So we know for people that gas, as you talk about, I mean, that energy situation ripples through everything else and how much we pay for everything else. Moody's Analytics says that the average household has paid an additional $450 in fuel-related costs since the conflict with Iran began. We've got polling on this, too. 86% of Americans tell us that gas prices are a problem for their family. That includes 51%, a majority of Americans who say it is a major problem for them. So as people are being told, hold on, things are going to get better, the reality for them is pretty tough. So what's a timeline on improving prices at the pump?
Right. Look, so one of the things that's happening right now, and I'm really glad you asked this question, is that, we have ongoing negotiations. They're already...
Excuse me. Did that make any sense to you? That 86% of people, I guess some of them said minor problem, some people said major problem, as we just went through the Memorial Day weekend with historic level of travel. Somebody's fudging some numbers someplace. That's one of the things when you look at the highways are packed, the airports were packed, but yet they're taking these polls, which they never say the data behind it. Who the hell are you talking to? Man, it doesn't make any sense.
A lot more ships getting through the straits than we're getting through before. And the boats go about 300 nautical miles per day. And so when you leave the straits, then you can get to Pakistan almost right away. You can get to India almost right away. You can get to Korea, Singapore a little bit faster. But the point is, those are the places where the refineries had to shut down because they didn't have oil. And that's why diesel prices went through the roof and jet fuel prices went through the roof. And what happened with U.S. refineries is when they saw how much money they could make with diesel and with jet fuel, then they changed what they refined and refined less gasoline and more of the other stuff, which was so costly. As soon as the oil lands in Asia, then we expect those prices to reverse and gasoline production in the U.S. to go up. And so I think I've seen some forecasts of how bad it could be, how long it could take, but I think they're really underestimating sort of the chain of events that's going to happen because the boats are actually already leaving and headed to Asia and making it so those refineries are going back towards 100% production.
Well, in the meantime, a couple of measures of consumer confidence this week show that people are pessimistic about how things are going. University of Michigan is one of them. I know there's another you prefer. They're both showing that there is growing concern there. People feel, our polling shows too, that their personal situation is not going well, and they blame President Trump's policies. So how do you change those minds, especially in a midterm year where those issues are real life for people, but they're also real life for the politicians who have to face the voters?
Maybe not ask those people in your poll. Maybe that might be the way to do it. Maybe educate them as to what Kevin is saying, understanding it's short term. That are you going to go back to those same people in 2 months? I don't know, maybe in July, maybe in August, and say, how's it going now? How are your gas prices? Are you going back to them? Now that the gas prices are lower, you feeling better about everything? That's why these polls make no sense. They're a snapshot. And that's why when Scott Bessent was talking, he said people with money, people who are participating in the market, they price the future. They don't look at right here and just get all bogged down. Make your moves now. Understand what you need to do if things aren't the way you like them. so that you can plan to, grab the gusto in a couple months. I understand there are some people who are genuinely hurting. But I also know there's a lot of people who will say this stuff in a poll because they hate Trump. Because if you ask the question, what were you paying when Biden was president, and did you feel hopeless then? Nah, they won't answer that.
Well, first of all, the Michigan survey no longer has anything to do with the economy or economic sentiment. It's just a place where Democrats get to register how angry they are at President Trump. They were over 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad he slapped it right there. I don't have the slap button ready. But Shannon, why the hell are you reading that kind of a poll? And then get embarrassed by somebody who's telling you that's not even a real poll. But you tried to form a narrative, and you got caught. That's shameful.
Polling for Joe Biden at the sort of deepest, darkest stagflation. Right now, they're all the way down to 30%, which is like the lowest Democrat sentiment ever. That's what's dragging the number down. The bottom line is that in the end, the literature shows that what people do when they're going to a midterm is they look at their pockets. Mm-hmm. They feel like, is my income higher? Is my job safe? So think about it. Initial claims for unemployment insurance have been about at the lowest they've been since the 1960s, which means that people aren't losing their jobs.
Wait a second. Now that blows the polls completely out of the water. The unemployment is the lowest since 1960, which means people are working. So what that also means are the people who can't grab food stamps and free stuff anymore, they're pissed off because they actually got to get out there and pay for stuff. That should be something on your polls. When did you finally get your ass up and get a job? Well, this Trump guy, he made me start working, and man, this gas is expensive. Because nobody ever puts that segment in there. Newly employed, new people who got a job who were on public assistance, they're gonna bitch. Everything was free. Man, this is expensive. Everything's expensive when you have to finally pay for it. When you're used to getting it for free. We've seen the videos of these people on TikTok and X and everything. I'm like, what do you mean I can't buy my bonbons and my soda? I gotta get vegetables and water? Yeah. Or you can get a job and pay for it yourself. How about that? So those people who used to sit and watch old Jerry Springer reruns, and then would sit back at home, and while you were feeding them and you were getting their transportation, those people now are working. Hence, the unemployment rate is very low since 1960. Obviously, if the unemployment rate is lower, more people are in the workplace. Where did those people come that aren't, illegals? They're people who weren't working. So that's one big thing, is we took them off of these suck-off rolls where they were just taking money and expecting it every month, and now they got to go fend for themselves, and for them, it sucks. It would suck for me too if everybody was paying for my stuff, and now all of a sudden I got to go to work. Yeah, so I'm going to complain. I didn't have to pay for gas before. I didn't have to pay for my bonbons. Now.
Real incomes are going up. And so those are the kind of things that historically have led elections, not sentiment surveys from a bunch of liberals at the University of Michigan.
Okay, let's start credit card debt, though, because that's another issue. Wall Street Journal says in the first quarter of this year, the percentage of credit card balances that were at least 90 days delinquent rose to 13.12%, according to data released in May by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Mm-hmm. That's the highest level in 15 years and the most since the period following the 2008 financial crisis. Mm-hmm. People say they're using those cards to get through necessities because they can't afford what's going on. So your message to them?
Right. Well, we talk to the CEOs of the credit card companies all the time, and we do see some increased stress, like the numbers that the Wall Street Journal quotes. But for the most part, the delinquency is different from default, and there's not any kind of threat, the financial threat to the credit card companies, that they don't feel like that they're heading towards default scenarios. It's just that people are taking a little bit longer. One of the reasons is that people are spending more on gas, but they're also spending more on everything else, not just groceries, but restaurants and so on. And I think that that's a sign that you would see when people are optimistic about the future. So
you would think she would have known that. You would think that'd be part of what's in the article. Hey, man, credit card debt is higher. Okay, what are they spending it on? Are they going out? They're going to the club, putting it on a credit card? Are they spending it on Uber? People have to spend in order to accrue a balance. Balance just doesn't show up. It means people are spending. So why not take the data from the credit card companies and tell us what are people spending it on inordinately? And then he said something very important, which most people wouldn't even hear. There's a big difference between delinquency and default. Default is that no man's land where there's no way back. Delinquency, that's people who don't monitor their credit and they don't care if it takes an extra 30 days to pay. We'll pay the minimum balance and we'll just let it ride. I'll get a check next month and then I'll go ahead and pay it down, put some down on it. They're still in it. They're in a game. They don't, maybe they don't know how badly they're damaging their credit score, which is a whole nother argument. But it's not default. Default means I ain't got nothing else. I can't pay. I'm done. The default remains very low. He had to say that. She didn't.
Generally what we see when people are worried they're going to lose their job, which they shouldn't be because initial claims for unemployment insurance about the lowest they've ever been. When they're worried they're going to lose their job, that's when they stop spending like crazy and start saving money because they're worried they might not have to pay, they might have the money for their paying their rent. And so what we're seeing right now is spending based on optimism about the future. And if you consider how big the boom is going to be, like right now, Atlanta Fed's GDP now is about a 4% growth for the current quarter. If you look at how big the boom will be when the straits open, then it's reasonable for people to be optimistic.
She should have known better. She was completely unprepared. Somebody handed her a teleprompter script and she just read it. She didn't have any, you saw the difference when Maria Bartiromo was talking to people. She's done her homework and she can go back and forth. Shannon Bream just sat there to look pretty. Okay, so next question. She had no comeback, nothing. That's how another indication when you can tell somebody's just going along. They're just reading. Because if I would love to talk to Kevin because we would have that kind of conversation. Hey, you just mentioned this. So what was the default rate? What's the default rate now? And what is there any way we can get the data on what they're spending? She didn't ask him anything. And so you have to be able, when you're listening to this stuff, you have to really hone in and understand what's being said to you, and what's not being said to you is even more important. Now, SV, I understand he's got another video for me. You doing it to me again?
Yeah, this is about 15 minutes ago. So the curfew is in force. So I don't see any stories yet where they're arresting anybody. But the last story I sent you, the 2-minute video, shows that emergency alert tones were blasting through people's phones, demanding that folks leave the area. So everyone's like,
All right, here we go. Wait. Where are they going? and what are they packing up the gear for the next riot? They should just have a cop follow them because they're getting ready for the next riot, man.
Right. Hold on, I got an update. I'm sending to you right now. The police are they're sprinting to pummel leftists. Eric Doherty just posted. Just send it to you on X.
All right, let's finish this one. I'll get the other one. Hold on.
got you.
You are getting past 9. We are sitting down. We are interlocking arms.
Sit down. There's a penalty flag.
No, it is not. We are peaceful protesters.
There's a very easy way to get to us. Trampled by horses.
That white girl's wearing one of those Hamas guys. Girl, get your butt home. Oh my God. Get out of here.
Do not sit down. Do not sit down.
If you're planning to stay, grab a water. 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 I have a water, thank you. Are you guys planning to stay? Grab a water.
Are you planning to stay? Are you planning to stay? Well, that was before. So that was as they were getting ready for the 9 o'clock hour.
Right.
So now here comes the 9 o'clock hour. If you
FAFO time.
if you were planning on staying, maybe that ain't gonna work out for you. Okay? Stay back, stay back, stay back, stay back. Hey, get those ranks closed up. Get those ranks closed up. Move in. Close it up. Close it up. Close it up. Close it up.
You know, most normal people would be admiring the nice sunset as the sun was going down. No, these people, you know, they're just mired in hate and anger.
I have a question. If this is supposed to be a rally or protest about people in ICE detention, how come the people who are of the ICE detention, color, why aren't they protesting? How come it's all white kids?
Yeah, make it make sense, huh? It's because let's say it again. It's non-organic. It doesn't. It's all being paid for. They're just trying to stoke the flames. Soros is behind it, and the rest of these people throwing the money at it. Because when you go to these things and you see everybody has the same sign, they're well funded. They have all their gas masks, which those things are not cheap.
No,
all the supplies they have those expensive medics.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so I'm going to finish up with a story here. Some of you guys have probably been following. SB, I'll hit you up in a little bit if you got some more.
All right.
You guys have probably seen this story. And, well, let me just start it. You understand that Jackson Dart is the quarterback of the New York Giants, SV's team. And it has turned into this national thing. And I'm going to give you some background on this that you probably don't know. Maybe you don't care, but this is interesting.
I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
Appreciate y'all being here. I understand that there's probably going to be questions that involve off the field topics, and for that I have a statement, and I hope I can answer as many of those questions that y'all may have, and I ask that can talk about football after that, and I hope that we can understand and respect that from each other. Obviously this was a unique opportunity. Being asked and given the opportunity to introduce the President of the United States, my thinking was pretty simple. In the fact of, I've always loved this country. I have extended family members who have fought in wars. I have 2 uncles who have retired from the Air Force Academy and served themselves. And I even have a great-grandfather who served as Secretary of Treasury at some point. So the president position has always been a position that I've well respected, regardless of political.
I'm going to jump in here. The mere fact that this young man has to explain, has to put himself in front of the press to explain that he introduced the President of the United States. This ties in specifically to the first story with Freedom 250. And the more I hear it, the more I like it. President Trump is calling it Freedom 250 because he should be free to introduce the President of the United States. The libs, the nuts, are in such a froth, but they don't want anybody being associated with the President of the United States whatsoever. And so because of that, it has become this huge racial problem with the team. And it should never be that way. It should never have gotten that way. And some of these people are going to talk and they're going to expose themselves.
Affiliation, regardless of political party. And, my intentions were just that. I also understand in this world, politics can be a sensitive matter, a sensitive topic. I also understand that I am the quarterback of the New York Giants, and that involves a lot of responsibility. It's under a limelight, under a microscope, and there's a lot that comes with that, and it's been something that I've embraced. I've loved being here. I've loved the city of New York. I love the city of New Jersey, the people that I've met here. It's just been a really amazing experience, and there's not another place that I'd rather be. Most importantly, the people in this organization, my teammates, the staff, the coaches, everybody that has a hand. Jose, you name it. I've loved making relationships with them and growing connections, and that's the kind of person that I am. I'm a connector. I love making relationships with people. I love hearing everybody's stories and being somebody who people can rely on to be there for them. And most importantly, I can honestly say that I love every single one of my brothers, my teammates on this team, regardless of politics, regardless of religious beliefs, regardless of anything that may be different between us. Like, I love them, and they know exactly what kind of person that I am.
I guess they don't. See, that when he said that made me sit back and go, no, they don't. They should have. They should have known well before he introduced President Trump what he was all about. It wasn't like there weren't signs. He had posed a picture at an NFL event, and that's him and his girlfriend. I'm pretty sure when people saw this picture at an NFL event, they should have known he probably wasn't a liberal. They probably weren't shocked by the way he handled himself. You see, I knew my teammates' backgrounds. I understood who my teammates were. I understood what they were all about. There were some guys you didn't want to be around because they were in trouble, but they were on a team. And I would never have gone public and said, that guy is a piece of crap, and he's done this, he's done that, and he's my teammate. But that's what they've done to him. That's what many fans have done to him. But unfortunately for them, it's all falling on deaf ears. After all this happened, his jersey sold nearly 300,000 shirts. It became the #1 selling jersey in the NFL. Does that tell you something? With all the stuff that the NFL tries to do, you decided you're going to take on this kid because he's everything you hate. You look at him and how he holds himself and who he's with there, and you realize everything that the NFL players don't like is this guy. And then, on top of everything else, he happened to be supported by President Trump. So let's not kid ourselves. There's no way people didn't know that this guy was a Trump supporter. It exudes from him. You can see what kind of person he is. I'm sure many of them knew his grandfather was secretary of assistant secretary. I'm sure he told them certain family members were veterans. I'm sure if you're in that locker room, you talk. So it could never have been a surprise that he was supporting President Trump. And on top of it all, that picture right there should have told them everything. That's it. That should have told them everything. I think they used this occasion to basically shame him.
Comes into the facility every day, and who lays, I lay my body on the line for my guys each and every week, and it's from the connections that we build, the love that we have for each other, and I've been somebody who's always respected, the different perspectives that people may have, the backgrounds that they come from. I understand that, we have such a cool opportunity as people, to be in a locker room where it's a melting pot of people from everywhere, and we get to be together. I think that the connections that we build are special because, we're able to have vulnerable conversations. We're able to learn from each other, to support each other, irrespective of the color of our skin. And, we have a real brotherhood.
I can tell you, nobody recognizes the color of the skin. When you're in the locker room, everybody's there for a purpose. Because if you're a racist, if you're any kind of person that it causes that kind of divisiveness, you're not in the locker room. They don't put you in with those people. By the time you get to signing your multi-million-dollar contract as a rookie, you have gone through every conceivable physical test. You've gone through the combine, and you have gone through psychological testing. So this wasn't a surprise. Oh, and by the way, his coach is a huge Trump supporter. Nobody said anything about that. Harbaugh is the new coach of the New York Giants, and he and his brother, John and Jim, who the other one is with San Diego, are both Trump supporters. Pictures of them in the Oval Office. So none of this was a surprise. They used it to attack him.
We've had a lot of honest conversations with each other as a team, and I like to keep those things private between me and my teammates, and just everything that's been said. But I love these guys, and going forward, I can't wait for what more we have to grow. The culture of this team, our brotherhood, and obviously we understand the biggest goal is to be the best team that we can be, to put ourselves in the best position to succeed, to chase a championship, to be the best players for Coach Harbs and all the coaches here. And, that's our focus going forward each and every day. And can't wait to continue to do that. Appreciate you guys.
A few moments later.
So first off, I'm going to say that
All right, so this is the guy, Abdul Carter, decides he's going to come out and say the most asinine thing I've ever heard somebody say. It's short. And it's going to it's facepalm time.
Things are bigger than football, and this is one of those things. Jackson is one of our leaders. He's the face of our franchise. He not only represents himself and what he does, but he represents all of us. And that goes for anybody who wears a Giants uniform. But if he chooses to align himself with a man like President Trump.
I'm going to stop you right there, because no reporter is going to ask you. So I'm going to ask you this. What if he lines himself with a man like President Trump? Can you tell us what you're talking about? You know, you're a big man. You just, signed a contract for millions and millions and millions of dollars. You're strong. You're virile. What is the kind of man that you think your quarterback aligned himself with? Nobody asks. What's the big problem? Please tell me.
It's my responsibility, based on what I believe and what I stand on, to not only show my teammates that I'm against that, but to...
Against what? What do you stand on? Hey, again, I would love to be at some of these press conferences. Whoa, Abdullah, whatever. What is it that you stand on? The rest of us would love to know. What the hell are you talking about? It sounds flowery. You want to tell us what it is? What do you have against President Trump? What do you stand on? Nobody asks these questions. They just let this guy come up and vomit on the podium.
Show the world. And that doesn't mean that we have to spread hate. It doesn't mean that me and Jackson hate each other or we have beef. I sit next to Jackson every day. Every team meeting, we close, we talk. And we just, as long as we make sure we got the same goal as a team and our goals align, which they do, and I feel like that's all that matters. So I just want to move past this and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a little bit too late, bro. You opened up your damn mouth. Now you'd love to get past it. You'd love to just make sure everybody did what too late. By the way, I think Jackson Dart should be wondering if you're the type of guy he needs to be hanging around. You see, what these people don't know when they throw these glass punches is that people will always look them up. And somebody found, excuse that second word there, but Abdul Carter, New York Giants linebacker, has been arrested and charged twice based on public records from his time at Penn State. In September 2023, he was charged with misdemeanor marijuana possession, small amount for personal use. Police responded to a fire alarm in his dorm where he admitted to smoking marijuana and handed over a baggie. Wow. Wow, did you tell your teammates you were smoking weed? No, they probably wouldn't care. But did you tell everybody else? You tell sponsors, I'm sure the team knew you were a pothead. But the quarterback didn't out you for that. Hey, what else you got here? Oh, this one might be a little bit more. Let's see here. April 2024. Charged with second-degree misdemeanor simple assault and summary harassment. After an incident with the tow truck driver in March 2024, he was accused of pulling the driver from his truck, throwing him to the ground, fracturing his rib, and holding him down over a parking violation. Carter was accepted into a one-year pretrial intervention program in July of 2024, which is for the first-time offenders and could lead to charges being dismissed upon completion, including anger management. Oh, you got anger issues. Whatever you're standing on, you you didn't let us know about that. Hey, Abdul, you got a problem. You like to be harassing people, beating people up. Media asking anybody about that? Notice the whole time I'm talking about this, I didn't say anything about the color of your skin. I don't need to. I just want to know what kind of guy you're like. I want to stand on principle. Jason Whitlock, who runs a couple different blogs, I love what he says here, and it's so true. Here's what they've normalized and are trying to reinforce with this Jackson Dart situation. Black people can be offended by what white people believe, but white people can't be offended by what black people believe, including, Abdul. You see, when he showed up at the NFL draft, there were members of his family in certain kind of garb. I'm pretty sure that goes against some of the people there who were Christians, but they didn't say anything. They looked at your mom and looked at, yeah, okay, I'm going to be playing with this guy. And he, his name's Abdul. It's legal to love and worship Barack Obama. It's illegal to love and worship Donald Trump. Unsustainable, and I hope nobody's worshiping the president in any event. That's just crazy. But that's the problem where we are right now, and that's what these people have lost it, and they're going after football players.
I'm about to show you how you turn uncomfortable into a growing moment. I'm from a city, Birmingham, Alabama, where...
This is Jameis Winston. Jameis is the backup to Jackson Dart. He's been around the league a few times. You may recognize him because he used to play for Florida State in college. When he played for Florida State in college, Jameis, my boy here, he got arrested for stealing crab legs from Publix, which is the grocery store. Did Jackson say anything about hanging out with him? Did he stand on anything about him? No, nobody mentioned it. No.
They blew up a church with 4 little girls, and their parents and family had to go around picking up their limbs in the Deep South. Picking up their limbs, 4 little girls. I'm from a city where a little 9-year-old girl who decided to march got put in jail for volunteering her right of free speech, for standing on what she believes in. That's history. And I believe history repeats itself. But I also believe in respecting authority, respecting treating the man and the woman as I would like to be treated. That is how uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable times help unify people, because you know them. You realize from them and you grow from them. Right now, I haven't been a part of any openly traumatizing things like that happen. Not 250 years ago when this country came into existence.
What the hell are you talking about? You're telling us about stuff that happened before you're born, when there was, racism and people were blowing stuff up in the South, S-O-U-F, South. But nothing's ever happened to me, because I've been a top-notch quarterback in college. I got all the white women, and I stole crab legs. What are you talking about, bro? What? You're not making any sense. Done.
But try about 80 years ago. We got people that still live during that time. Those little girls will still be living right now. That 9-year-old girl that got sprayed with hoses and you put dogs on her and put her in jail, she's still living right now. It's a little children's book. I read this book about...
He introduced the president, moron. What does this have to do with German shepherds attacking black people, or hoses being put on them, or the little girls getting blown up? Hello, I'd like to introduce the 45th and 47th president of the United States. That was the extent of what he said. Then he walked off, he got a hug, and that was it. And somehow you've equated it to church bombings in the South. S-O-U-F.
This 9-year-old marcher to my kids. That's why educating our youth and
youths, Y-O-U-Fs in the South, youths. This guy is a college graduate.
Forming them of our history is so important. A lot of people try to push it past. You're like, oh my gosh, like that's behind us. No, guys, we living in it right now. We got a blonde haired, blue eyed white kid and a black Muslim religion black kid who are coming together and showing the world that we can come together. We can happen. We don't have to see everything. Everything doesn't have to be viewed in this perfect little snow globe, and everything doesn't have to be perfect.
This guy gets paid millions. As you go to work tomorrow, and you sit back, you're like, this guy gets paid millions. He doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And somehow he's tying this in a big bow that none of the reporters had said, excuse me, what in the F are you talking about, man? You don't make no sense. None. The bombings and, the Muslim black kid and the blue-eyed, blonde-haired dude. What? He's a quarterback. The other guy plays defensive end. What the hell are we talking about? He introduced the President of the United States. Doesn't matter if he's from the South or not. SOUF. That just cracks me up. Now, on a more serious note, this guy. I think it's this guy. I think he's up next. Let me preview it for you. Yeah, that guy. This guy is Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers a long, long time ago. He now works at ESPN. He is a black man who has experienced success in his life. I think he makes like $2 or $3 million a year. He's got a successful podcast, but for some reason, the scourge of racism is like a cinder block on his shoulder. He can't seem to get away from it. I don't know, but wait till you hear what he says.
What transpired in the Giants locker room last week is a lesson for every locker room in America. What started with Jackson Dart's public political statement and was followed by a highly criticized tweet from fellow first rounder Abdul Carter led us exactly where we needed to be. It led us to conversation. It led us to accountability. It led us to understanding. And
okay, so I just want to remind you, he introduced the President of the United States. For some reason, for some of these people, it was a monumental moment in history. It's so consequential. What did he do? Nobody's answering his questions. What exactly did he do? And then take it further, what did he do wrong?
if we are going to ask people to respect one player's political beliefs, we have to be willing to respect every player's political beliefs.
There's the problem. Abdul didn't give any political beliefs. He didn't say anything. He just said, I'm standing on my principle. What exactly is that? You didn't tell anybody. You're pissed off that your quarterback introduced the President of the United States, but
First off, salute to Jackson Dart for showing the leadership, the awareness, the humility by being willing to have these conversations behind closed doors with his teammates and then issue his own public statement. He could have just been like, F it, I'm the quarterback of the Giants. I support who I support. And I also appreciate Jameis Winston's statement on what the locker room is a microcosm of, on diversity, on togetherness. And I just love it because,
man, I'm too old. I'm really too old. I don't remember any coach ever sitting us down and saying, hey, we're about to play so-and-so this weekend, and I just want to let you guys know this is a very diverse place. It's amazing how you black guys and you white guys all show up on Friday night and get drunk at people's houses. It's so diverse that you're allowed to swim in this person's pool when people were blowing up people in the South years ago. South, S-O-U-F. And it's amazing that you're allowed to drink from cups that maybe some white guys might want to use. It's amazing. We've come so far. You have overcome. And by the way, you black guys with the white girlfriends, it's amazing. Nobody ever said that. And now here we are in 2026, and it's like there's something happened. I've actually made calls to some of my buddies. I'm like, did you feel weird? No. Did you ever feel weird that you were black and our quarterback, because they always were, white, and we went to parties and we did fraternity stuff? Did you ever feel weird? No. Okay. I feel like I walked into a twilight zone. What the hell are we talking about here? See, this is a manufactured crisis. People at ESPN and race baiters and grievance merchants have decided they were going to turn this into some sort of, I don't know, incident. When all I remember is people in locker rooms trying to blow boogies at each other and wedgies and, okay, they didn't care if you're white or black. If somebody was going to do something, they're going to snap your butt with a belt or something. Nobody say, hey, look, let's go mess with the blackies. What has happened? What has happened in this society? This should, what? He's going to tell you. He doesn't realize it, but he's going to tell you.
Hell, it's Jameis. But more than anything, I gained a ton of respect for Abdul Carter. Many current and former players have expressed support for President Trump, but far fewer have publicly expressed opposition.
He didn't express opposition. He says, basically, I don't like him. All right, I don't give a shit. What don't you like, coward? What is it that some black players don't like about President Trump? This guy speaks for 2 minutes. He doesn't tell you what's wrong.
And Abdul's message wasn't so much rooted in politics to me as it was principle. He wasn't searching for apologies. He didn't lead with hate. He was focused on fairness and equality. And
the guy spoke for 48 seconds. You heard the entirety of what he said. He didn't speak for equality. He didn't speak for any equity stuff. He's like, I don't like him. And I got to call him out. This is the biggest piece of crap. And I understand he's got a big following, and I'll probably get blasted. I'm like, dude, you're trying to be too poignant. You know, you're trying to get that Emmy or something where you're hoping that people realize you're really speaking from the heart when actually you're speaking from your anus. Nobody talked about any inclusion or DEI or anything. Nobody did. Abdul didn't even say anything. He spoke for 47 seconds.
Right to speak honestly about issues that are extremely important to him. Now, that's not always a comfortable place to be.
Did you hear him speak any issues? Nope. Completely made up. Maybe Abdul didn't know what the script was. Maybe Abdul forgot to read the rest of the script when he made his statement, because he sounded like he heard a whole completely different statement.
That's a position that will get you highly criticized in some extremely powerful rooms. And I've been in that part of the room. And that's what makes what Abdul Carter did even more impressive to me. Like earlier in the week, I said that I thought this could have been handled behind closed doors. But
what was there to handle? He introduced the President of the United States. What was there to handle? None of you are answering that question. Nobody in the press, nobody on the team, nobody, none of the reporters, nobody is saying, what was there to handle? I didn't like that he introduced Trump. All right, well, get over yourself. Period. That's it. I don't care. I don't care that you don't like President Trump. Handle. Done. Shut up. Go block. Do something.
Abdul proved to me that I was wrong. Without his tweet, the conversations don't happen. Without his tweet, the statements aren't made. Sometimes discomfort is the price of progress.
I listened to this probably 6 times. I rewound it. I listened again. I rewound it. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I have no idea what the hell you're even intimating. I know some of you are like, Barry, what is this guy? Maybe you can tell me. The price of uncomfortability is the price of progress. What? You're trying too hard to be some sort of pontificating soothsayer. What the hell are you talking about? You spent 2 minutes where you could have just said, we hate Trump. Then we ought to, that's it. That's the message. But you ain't got the balls to say that.
And other times, tension actually creates resolution. Abdul Carter was right. If we're going to respect one athlete's political stance, we have to respect another's. And that's even if we disagree. But on this, Abdul, and on this point, I agree with you.
What point? What point did he say? Let me know if I missed it. What? I agree with you. Okay, so you hate Trump too. What am I supposed to do? Change parties? Become a Muslim? I don't know. What is it that I'm supposed to do? What is the resolution here? Because I'm still for Trump. So that's the part that's weird. After it's all said and done, he is still a Trump supporter. He did nothing. There was no discussion. I can tell you there was no discussion. And other people in other locker rooms are laughing.
In our locker room, we had my dog, Derek Wolf. He loved Trump. What, did he not? He was adamant about it. He loved Trump. It's so many different upbringings, so many different backgrounds in the league, man. You got dudes from the hood, from the suburbs, from the country, from the city. You got white dudes who grew up with black dudes. They act black a little bit. You got black dudes who grew up with white dudes. They act white a little bit. You gonna have different political views. You gonna have different religious views. I don't think it impact the locker room. They say you're not supposed to.
Exactly. See, what he just described, by the way, is every workplace in America. Every single place where people go to work, there are people of different colors and persuasions and sexual affiliations and everything else, and it doesn't matter as long as you do your damn job. The locker room is a little bit closer because, after all, you get naked with these guys, and your livelihood really depends upon their performance as well. But other than that, I don't care. I really don't care who you vote for. Just go out and catch this pass. Run through this hole. Block this dude. If you're sitting in a huddle going, damn, he's a Trump supporter. No, nobody's doing that, including Abdul, because Abdul will get his clock cleaned if he's not focusing on the guy in front of him, not the guy who, back in March or April or May endorsed Trump.
Talk about like politics. Man, f that. The locker room talk about everything. And you're gonna have guys who believe something you don't believe. And y'all gonna talk about it. It probably turn to jokes. In our locker room, we had my dog, Derek Wolf. He loved Trump. What, did he not? He was adamant about it. He loved Trump. Trump gonna do this and Trump gonna. We used to argue with him and play around and laugh and joke. And at the end of the day, we all was at the wedding. He had married, we all up there in Vail at the wedding, kicking it like, that's our brother. To this day, we link up, woof, that's my brother. He loved Trump. Oh, well, it is what it is. It's what you like. You know
Not everybody has that attitude.
But in that locker room, everybody got that attitude. It'd never disrupt the locker room because that's not what we there for.
I love that.
We're here to win chips. It's guys from all different walks of life. We coming together to win the chip. Now, if there's a guy here like, bruh, I'm making my cash. I don't give a about winning, bro. You think Nah, that's going to cause a riffraff in the locker room, man.
I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys followed football back then, but in 1969, a real brazen white kid out of Alabama, down here in the South, SOUF, decided he was going to be, really cocky and arrogant and say he was going to win the Super Bowl. And that same quarterback, there are people pissed off that, wait a minute, man, did you really just guarantee a win? Yeah, I guaranteed that we were going to win. Dude, how could you do that? Yeah. Locker room erupted. And then they said, well, I guess we better beat them, huh? Yes. And then that's not even the big one. Would probably crack me up. I can imagine being in the locker room when Joe Namath decided to slide on some pantyhose. Could you imagine that? Wait a second, bro. Are you wearing pantyhose? And this is back in 1969, 1970. A white kid, blue-eyed, very handsome, playboy in New York, who's from the South, S-O-U-F, decided he's going to wear pantyhose. Get over it. I'm getting paid. People have done some crazy, eccentric stuff. There's some stories about Lyle Alzado. I mean, I could tell you so many different stories of some really sick stuff some people did. Didn't matter. Didn't need no equity and inclusion. You're already included. You're already getting the equity. You're getting paid to run up and down a field. And like Talib said, who that guy was talking, all we want you to do is say you're going to help us win. If you're here for yourself, you out. Step. As a team, we're going to try and win this together.
12 News obtained jail records from the arrest of Packers running back Josh Jacobs.
Oh, what? Oh. A guy, a running back in the NFL, just a few days around this entire thing, he got arrested for beating up his little white woman. Not one word from Ryan Clark. Nary a word from most of the sports writers. Some of the sports writers did pick up on it, and other people as well, because it was the contrast, as I use that word a lot, was amazing. The contrast is like, wait a second, guess which one the media lost their minds over? Jackson Dart introduced President Trump. Josh Jacobs arrested on battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, strangulation and suffocation, and intimidation of a victim. One guy introduced Trump, the other one was arrested on 5 charges. Not a word. You can go look at Ryan Clark's Twitter feed. Hey, man, there's some locker room problems right there. There, you're beating up women. You got arrested. You might not be able to play. Nothing. Abdul Carter, nothing. Not a word. Nothing.
I hear yelling and screaming, things being thrown. It's plotting to this location. I have an open line, possibly a male-female.
The documents show police responded to Jacobs' home in the town of Hobart, just outside of Green Bay, Saturday morning for a disturbance. The Packers running back turned himself in to police Tuesday and spent the night in the Brown County jail. He was released the next day after the district attorney said he needed more time to decide whether to file criminal charges. Now, the documents confirm those charges could include strangulation and suffocation, battery, disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, and victim intimidation.
Not a single word. Like, wait a second. Wait, you just said I got to call it out when I can. I got to stand on this. I got to stand on principle here. Now, I understand he's not your teammate, but anybody want to talk about this guy strangling people? No? No one? Maybe one or two of you? That's it? The hypocrisy is what makes this the story. One white kid introduced the president. In the very same week, this guy beats up this white woman. Here she is right here. Packer star Josh Jacobs has reportedly been dating viral model influencer Ash Cash since last year. Today, he was arrested on 5 charges, including domestic abuse, strangulation, and suffocation. I'm waiting, Ryan. I'm waiting. The rest of everybody else is waiting for you to say something. You're a fraud. You're a hypocrite. You're full of crap. This guy basically tried to kill this young woman. Not a word. Nothing.
Jacobs' attorneys has said that they're confident on the evidence, and once it's evaluated, it will confirm no charges should be filed.
TMJ4 has learned more, though, about what went down Saturday morning at Jacob's home. Dispatch audio lets us listen in as first responders answered a woman's call for help.
You hear yelling and screaming, things being thrown. It's plotting to this location. I have an open line, possibly a male-female.
A few minutes later, dispatch received a second call about that incident from a concerned next-door neighbor.
Neighbor is calling now saying that her neighbor was assaulted.
Dispatches are later heard saying the man suspected in that assault was not there. He drove away from the home in a Mercedes G-Wagon, but that easily spotted SUV was being tracked with license plate reader cameras.
Yeah, at this point, we'll walk that vehicle stop if you come across it.
In the end, deputies and an ambulance responded to the call at Jacob's home.
As of right now, what do you make of the Josh Jacobs situation, Shefty, and what can you tell us about it?
Now, this is Adam Schefter, one of the preeminent NFL reporters. It got to the point where the credibility of people like Adam, he may not have wanted to report on it, but dude tried to choke out a young, pretty white girl. This guy introduced the president. And so Adam here had to cover it.
Well, as of right now, it is a disturbing, troubling, problematic situation on many levels. Under the collective bargaining agreement, the baseline suspension for any domestic violence offense is a minimum of 6 games. 6 games. So
now understand this. The minimum for beating up and choking somebody out who's probably half your size is you could lose 6 games. Now, if these people really wanted to care about women, because it keeps happening, how about just you put your hand on a woman, you get 6 games suspension. Just put your hands on her. You get convicted, you're done. The fact that, they may drop charges or your lawyer may, the fact that you put your hand on her, 6 games. Mandatory. You get convicted, you go away.
if any of these charges are proven to be true, Josh Jacobs is looking at a lengthy suspension. If the charges are proven to be true and then some, like there's a video, like there's something else, you can let your mind wander and just think back to what happened with Ray Rice when a video came out. There's a lot of different ways this can go. Almost none of them are good, short of him being exonerated. But again, there are 5 different charges of a deeply troubling and disturbing incident.
5 charges. 5 of them. So I'm going to wrap up with a quick second video by Ryan. And like I said, this explains exactly where his mindset is.
Partisanship isn't as simple as it used to be. It's no longer just about whether you're a conservative or a Democrat. That's changed. It's very polarizing now. It's extremism more so than it is whether or not you support a list of legislative ideals. When the president or when a regime seems to continuously empower or invoke things that hurt a certain community.
Seems, that might have been the best word. What exactly is President Trump doing to hurt the black community? You see, you guys can talk in innuendos and you can use your poetic pauses, make it seem like this president is doing so much to hurt the black community, but you don't say anything. And nobody calls you on it. What exactly, right now, today, has President Trump been doing or has done to hurt the black community? I'll wait. I'm black. Not as black as you are, but I'm black. I can't define anything. We don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I think this is why you now have this conversation. I too agree that Abdul Carter could have handled it a different way. I'm sure there was some shock in seeing this because he probably feels like he knows Jackson Dart.
Obviously, he doesn't. Obviously, he doesn't know Jackson Dart at all. It must have surprised him that all of a sudden this guy with her coming from, I think he went to Mississippi, from Utah. Where did you think he was? This is stupid.
And when you are supporting someone who approached players the way that this president did during Colin Kaepernick's protest and said some of those things, there are going to be some feelings in certain communities.
Wait. Because President Trump said something about Colin Kaepernick, you're telling me it affected the entirety of the black community. That's what he did? You serious? It has got the point that he said some things about Colin Kaepernick has made you feel all fifis for 7 years? Wow.
And in the black community and amongst some of the black players as well. When you do support that politician or the president, you have to be aware of that. Now, I always say this, all my friends ain't my teammates, all my teammates aren't my friends. We don't have to believe in the same thing. Jackson Dart seems like a really cool kid to me, young man. He seems like a really good leader. And I'm sure he and Abdul Carter have a relationship that's close. And so I do believe there was some shock involved in it for Abdul Carter because...
Any of your close friends not know what your belief system is? No, I'm pretty sure. Everybody I consider a close friend knows. Barry's one of those Trump. He's a MAGA guy. He talks on camera for 3 hours at a time about Trump. Okay, so they all know. Every single one of my close friends, JJ, my lawyer, yep, he knows. My sisters, they know. How do you know somebody that you consider to be close to and not know who they support? See, that was his tell right there. He has no idea, none.
At a young age, you feel like if you support a certain thing, I probably know certain things about you. And I believe he learned that that wasn't true. Hopefully they were able to have a conversation and talk about their foundations, talk about their actual relationship, and talk about what their goal is going forward.
All right, so now I want you to hear, as this closes in the last 35 seconds or so, what exactly he says right here. He doesn't really say it, but you can interpolate what he's about to say. And no, not what he's about, what he does say.
When you have locker room problems, they need to be handled in the locker room. We can fuss and we can fight and we can disagree, but outside of here, we are all together. But let's be very honest. Who you supported in 2008 and 2012 was nowhere near as polarizing as who you support today.
That's it. Who was running in 2008 and 2012? Oh, I think I know. See, that was okay. It's okay if you were supporting the people running in 2008 and 2012, but it ain't nearly as bad as supporting Trump. He just said it. You racist bastard. I hated Obama. I still hate Obama. I could not believe that this guy was president. Not because he was black, because he was a frickin' moron. And you're saying, you know, whatever happened back then, we were different. We were much different. Not like this guy you guys got now.
Because a lot of times who you support today tells other people how you feel about people who sometimes don't look like you and who don't come from the places you come from. Because there's a caste system that's forming in America right now, and it's really become a place where people are going to have to make some difficult decisions about who they want to support and who they want to be in the future.
Racist. Caste system? Nobody calls them on that. What the hell you mean a caste system? See, it was okay in 2008, 2012, but now, no, this guy's extreme. And you're going to have to make some decisions because we need to know what you're all about. You didn't say that. Well, that's right. It's different in 2008 and 2012. You were doing what you were supposed to do. We were all supposed to look like him. What the hell does that even mean? In the entirety of my 65 years walking on the planet, I would pray I don't walk in front of somebody that looks like me. I didn't want to play against somebody who looked like me. I mean, I got the schoolboy looks, but I'm not looking to be a part of a zombie culture. If you're in the NFL, you don't want to be with people who look like you. I want people who can win. I want people who can play. I want people who can perform. I'm not voting for some melanin enhanced person just because they have melanin. That is the caste system. You are creating a caste system. You are telling people you should only vote for people who look like you. That is such a dim-witted situation that you're putting people in. Makes me sick. Makes me absolutely disgusted with people who think like this. And this guy getting paid $2 million a year on ESPN. Something wrong with that. Oh, wow, I ran long. Sorry about that. All right, let me look at SV. What you got? Anything more?
Yeah, I've been sending you updates, but instead of going back all the way to the 5th video I sent, just do the last one I sent you. Basically, it shows that the New Jersey police, it's 1 minute and 11 seconds long. They made mass arrests after totally quartering all the leftist anti-ICE agitators. They're being walked off in cuffs. They corralled them, and it's checkmate.
Well, you know, the problem with that is you watch. You won't hear about it. We'll find out. We'll find out about it months from now. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen is we're going to find out that the charges were all dismissed. That happens over and over and over. They arrest them all. They get them off the street, and then they just dismiss the charges. Until some of these people need to start going away, that becomes very, very problematic. Here, let me see. Let me put this video on here.
They gave quote-unquote press the opportunity. Everybody there is press. We all have a First Amendment right to free press. He's going to go home. It's completely...
Smells like shit here.
Back up into the front of the bus. You can do what you're doing. Back up. Back up. That should be to about where this black car is. Back up. Sir, back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. To this black car here. Back up. Back up. This black car right here that I'm pointing to. Back up. Let's go. Back up. Back up.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, it just drives me crazy because I know they'll be back on the street. Some New Jersey prosecutor will let that person walk, you know?
Yeah, they zip tied them, so they're just going in for the night.
Yeah.
But at least things won't be burning tonight, you know?
Yeah,
be able to
exactly.
see a nice, you'll see some stars. But let's play that boss. Let's play the. That's one of my favorites.
The lady talking. Hold on, not the whole thing because it's like so long. We'll let her give you a taste.
Oh, that's one of my faves.
All right, so I'm gonna do super chats and then get out of here. Thank you very much for your time, SV.
You're on your 4th hour.
Oh my gosh,
44 more minutes.
Have a good night, man. Thank you. I can't believe it went that long on a Sunday. Well, we're amongst friends, though, so that's pretty good. All right, so let me look at the super chats here from Amseti. Thank you. Chiosop, make a list of these so-called singers and boycott them. Yeah. They took over the schools and news and taught generation after generation to hate themselves, their country, and their future. That's a big problem. Big problem. Fikowski, thank you. No T-shirt or hat. I told you it's coming. You know, you'll get yours probably the same time SV gets his, because SV, I have the receipt where it actually went out, so it's coming. I promise. Mary, wait a minute. What T-shirt? I know about the hat. I didn't know about the T-shirt. Mary, the Capitol in Dallas flew the ABC community flag right next to the Texas flag. No other flag except the U.S. flag should be flown. I agree with you. Marcus, Washington, D.C. is clean, also known as New America is real. Digital assets is the future. XRP. You're going to have to start explaining some people about XRP. Geosop, Dems, UFC bad, transboxing. Y'all trying to get me in trouble saying some of this stuff. They're fake tots. We own rental homes in Roosevelt, Long Island, bought homes for $45K, now worth over $650. We knew the neighborhood was back when they opened a 7-Eleven in the area. Roberto, send me a ticket and I'll rock the stage for free. Oh gosh. Tania Berry, I fear we all may be driven to gouge out our eyes in horror for Pride Month. I can't wait. I'm going to wake up and I bet you the first 2 or 3 tweets I look at are going to be, something about Pride Month. G. Fisher, the masked idiot will arrest #1. Mr. Pug's mom, make asylums great again. We're going to have to. Lupe, Barry will let you know how I make out in the market tomorrow. Thanks for info today. Good for you. G. Fisher again, who needs Springer reruns with Fox and CNN around? Exactly. Where'd that go? Hold on. Cowpoker, that's a new name. It would be better use of your time instead of worrying about Democrats would be to teach yourself to say, no, thank you, I'm full. Buddy Sanders, this is why I quit watching the NFL after Kaepernick. And Nicholas, how you doing, brother? Great show, Barry. It took me a long time to get over the Ravens taking a knee in London. Ray Lewis, who had a questionable situation in 2000. Remember, yep, he was questioned for murder as well. He took a knee too. It's all selective outrage to divide us. I think he has since changed, though. I'd have to verify that. Neo, Barry, shame how young athletes in sports are turned and blinded just so they can keep the money. No real common sense. I support my president, as well do I. All right, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Probably, it looks like I looked at President Trump's schedule. It doesn't look like there's anything big on tap. Hold on, let me just double check here. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11, he's policy meeting. He signs an executive order at 4:30, so I'm going to be going live at 4, so if they announce something or show it, we'll be on air. All right, thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Lear.